Hey, Tpusa Birds. Hey, hey, hey. Come on in, come on in. Hey, hey, hey. Hey, 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 hey. Hey, Cynthia. How are you? How are you? Sweet precious. Let's see. Let's get it. Oh, what is... I didn't want to make y'all wait. Where's my thing? Oh, yeah. Let's hear this. Wow.
Sasha Bailey's testimony, and it seems super random. Like, why would he? So Representative Jim Jordan showed up in Sasha Bailey's testimony, and it seems super random. Like, why would he be there? But I think I found out why. He was the Ohio State assistant wrestling coach from 1987 to 1995. During that time, from 79 to 98, Dr. Richard Strauss was the physician that tended to the wrestling team. He was accused by hundreds of wrestlers of inappropriate medical examinations. And multiple wrestlers also accused Jim Jordan of knowing about the assaults going on and failing to report it. Multiple students allegedly reported Dr. Richard Strauss to Jim Jordan as well as other people at the university. Guess who was on the board of trustees for Ohio State University during the time that Dr. Richard Strauss was affiliated with the university as well as Jim Jordan? Les Wexner. There's the files connection. Holy smokes.
Oh, wow.
So Representative Jim Jordan showed up in Sasha Bailey's testimony, and it seems super random. Like, why would he be there? But I think I found out why. He was the Ohio State assistant wrestling coach from 1987 to 1995. During that time, from 79 to 98, Dr. Richard Strauss was the physician that tended to the wrestling team. He was accused by hundreds of wrestlers of inappropriate medical examinations, and multiple wrestlers also. So Representative Jim Jordan showed up in Sasha Bailey's testimony, and it seems super random. Like, why would he be there? But I think I found out why. He was the Ohio State assistant wrestling coach from 1987 to 1995. During that time, from 79 to 98, Dr. Richard Strauss was the physician that tended to the wrestling team. He was accused by hundreds of wrestlers of inappropriate medical examinations, and multiple wrestlers also accused Jim Jordan of knowing about the assaults going on and failing to report it. Multiple students allegedly reported Dr. Richard Strauss to Jim Jordan as well as other people at the university. Guess who was on the board of trustees for Ohio State University during the time that Dr. Richard Strauss was affiliated with the university as well as Jim Jordan? Les Wexner.
They be all over the place. They be all over the place. This one don't have no one. Y'all come on in. Come on in.
Just in from walking the dogs and all, this information started to pool in my brain. Sasha Riley's testimony came out on January 12th via Substack, because of course it did. Any true journalism anymore is going to be through independent media. One of the names he dropped was Andy Biggs. congressman from Arizona, who Erika Kirk just endorsed at her America Fuckfest event for governor. She just endorsed Andy Biggs for governor, one of the worst, and that bar was set high. Sasha also mentioned that these events were held on farms and ranches. Sasha's testimony reminded me of another little boy who allegedly was assaulted by our current president. You might remember one of the emails that came out through the Epstein files was Mark Epstein emailing Jeffrey, making a joke about a picture of Donald Trump blowing Bubba. Everybody's mind went to Bill Clinton. Mark Epstein quickly came out and said, no, not Bill Clinton. He wouldn't talk any.
I mean, I'm gonna listen, but
Just
it
in
is.
from walking the dogs and all, this information started to pool in my brain. Sasha Riley's testimony came out on January 12th via Substack, because of course it did. Any true journalism anymore is going to be through independent media. One of the names he dropped was Andy Biggs, congressman from Arizona, who Erika Kirk just endorsed at her America Fuckfest event for governor. She just endorsed Andy Biggs for governor, one of the worst, and that bar was set high. Sasha also mentioned that these events were held on farms and ranches. Sasha's testimony reminded me of another little boy who allegedly was assaulted by our current president. You might remember one of the emails that came out through the Epstein files was Mark Epstein emailing Jeffrey, making a joke about a picture of Donald Trump blowing Bubba. Everybody's mind went to Bill Clinton. Mark Epstein quickly came out and said, no, not Bill Clinton. He wouldn't talk any more about it, but said, no, not Bill Clinton. I started to dig a bit deeper, as did many, and the consensus was that Bubba, who was a child at the time of this assault, was this Bubba. An oil family, Trump donors, and they have a ranch.
It's Bill Clinton.
Patel's been to that ranch.
It's
not
Bill
on official
Clinton.
business, but Patel had been to that ranch. Erika Kirk also has strong military ties because of her mother's whatever the fuck she does for the military. In Sasha's testimony, he also says that some of these snuff tapes, yeah, spoiler, were circulated on military bases, and that a significant amount of information is being kept at one military base in particular. And then Candace Owens, the only close friend of Charlie's who apparently gives a shit about actually finding out what happened to the man, gets in touch with a witness. Says he is absolutely sure he saw Erika Kirk in that hotel lobby the night before Charlie was shot. The other person that he saw on the base was the head of security, who would later appear on Sean Ryan's podcast, and Sean would later make it clear he didn't trust the guy. There's this thread that just goes through all of it. I gotta walk the dogs more often. Just
okay. I wanted to play that before I listened to and another one of these, and before I listened to Candace. Here go another and Evangelica who has been arrested for what? What has he been arrested for? I mean, let me guess. Fooling with a kid? I mean, do I have to even look? Yeah. Yeah. Fooling with a kid. Oh, yeah, you see Charlie Kirk. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Fooling with a kid. Why do they always fool with kids? Elementary school teacher. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. God, please protect the kids. Please. Oh, my God. They make me sick. Let's get to Candace. They make me sick. Come on, Candace. Make me feel better. Bring the tea. We want the tea. Oh, we want the tea. We want the tea.
Which I would say is third-party information. A person stationed at Fort Huachuca.
Well, hold on, girl. You're moving too fast. Slow your roll. Let's go. Y'all come in, please, hitting the like button. I have a goal set. Help me reach my goal tonight.
All right, you guys, we have a lot to unpack today. So I, for weeks, was working on a pretty strong tip, something that happened online, which I would say is third-party information. A person stationed at Fort Huachuca who claimed publicly that they had seen Erika at Fort Huachuca. They were certain of it. And then they sort of got chased offline and they deleted it. Anyways, I was able to follow that lead and I have some more information there. I can tell you Erika disputes that narrative. But in addition to that, I can assert that I feel completely comfortable that saying or stating clearly that Erika is definitively aware and familiar with the Fort Huachuca base, intel base, because once upon a time she shot a teaser for a short film there or around there, and the general topic of the film is not going to go a long way in terms of dispelling conspiracies. Also, later on in the show, I want to discuss Nick Fuentes because, man, oh man, I was kind of fine with everything he's been doing. I've always maintained that he's not for me. His content's not for me. I also have maintained that he's clearly a federal informant, but who cares if people want to follow him? Well, now he's caught my attention because, frankly, he's trying to soft sell pedophilia. That's what he's doing. And I just don't know how to ask for us not doing. I've always maintained that he's not for me. His content's not for me. I also have maintained that he's clearly a federal informant, but who cares if people want to follow him? Well, now he's caught my attention because, frankly, he's trying to soft sell pedophilia. That's what he's doing.
Oh, wow.
And I just don't know how to ask for us not to do this as a society. Can we not? Can we just not? Why can we, as a society, not agree to just that one simple term? Welcome back to Candace.
No, we're not selling.
Marqué par votre équipe favorite. Envoyez de l'argent à vos proches avec Western Union. Retrait en espèces en quelques minutes.
Leave the kids alone. No to harming kids.
A treadmill.
No to forcing yourself on kids.
Okay, you guys, Fort Huachuca, the response, the public response, it was way too over the top. We don't really need to unpack everything that transpired, but suffice it to say, it was pretty clear they were panicking. They were bringing out Mitch's baby mama drama, sons, everything to say this never happened, and we're going, what's going on here? Why are you guys so freaked out about this base? Clearly something happened here. And we learned more that it's an intel base. We learned more about how they were teaching courses to their agents on how to pretend that they're Christians and to be inserted within Christian organizations. That got weird. That's definitely weird, right?
Absolutely.
And then came, obviously, the PR blunder. When people say too much, almost, in trying to debunk something, when they pretend like they don't even understand English words. Fort? Fort? Can you put it in a sentence? What's a fort? Gosh, these people are so insane. Erika wasn't at some fort. Okay, Andrew, call that little too much. Like I said, he's got a lead foot. Vroom, too quickly. 0 to 100, too fast. Their agents on how to pretend that they're Christians and to be inserted within Christian organizations. That got weird. That's definitely weird, right? And then came, obviously, the PR blunder. When people say too much, almost, in trying to debunk something, when they pretend like they don't even understand English words. Fort? Fort? Can you put it in a sentence? What's a fort? Gosh, these people are so insane. Erika wasn't at some fort. Okay, Andrew, call that little too much. Like I said, he's got a lead foot. Vroom, too quickly. 0 to 100, too fast. If I was their PR agent, and to be clear, I do think Turning Point USA should put me on a monthly consulting retainer. I can help. If it was me, I'd have been like, oh, Fort Huachuca. Yeah, we all know Fort Huachuca, yeah. Yeah, Erika lives nearby. Actually, I think maybe her mom worked there. I don't know. Let me call her. and see. She might have been, I have no idea. I'll see. I'll get back to you. I would have played it cool. No. Andrew's all like, here's a picture of her with her babies on the wrong date. She wasn't, she wasn't building a pillow fort. Oh, no. She was eating burgers. I like Chipotle. What, Andrew? What are you saying? Why do you seem nervous? That was, people with common sense. That's how I think we all felt. And I am going to tell you a lot. I can, like I said, assert she definitely has heard of Fort Huachuca. So I was interested when some people that were based at Fort Huachuca back in 2010, around 2010, maybe 2011, reached out to me to inform me that they knew Erika, and that Erika definitely knows the base because a bunch of people from the base were affiliated and had worked with her from about 2010 until around 2013 on a mini film that never saw the light of day. As evidence of this, because I was thinking, am I being trolled here? And then no, I wasn't being trolled. As evidence of this, they actually provided me with movie posters, which were professionally shot, and the movie, which was entitled November Renaissance. Okay, sure. We obviously we know that she did some acting or reality TV. I don't know how we would phrase it. We know that she was pursuing the stage. Obviously, she was involved in pageants, and we're checking out this movie poster before I tell you what it's all about. We shot, and the movie, which was entitled November Renaissance. Okay, sure. We obviously we know that she did some acting or reality TV. I don't know how we would phrase it. We know that she was pursuing the stage. Obviously, she was involved in pageants, and we're checking out this movie poster before I tell you what it's all about, what the movie itself is about. Just by way of association, virtually everyone involved in this movie, the actors, the stunt double men, they are involved with Fort Huachuca, okay? Involved with the military at the very least. The person they said she was really close to was Clayton Haugen. I hope I'm saying that last name right. H-A-U-G-N, maybe it's just Hogan. And he does marketing for the defense contracting firm Dillon Aerospace. There's Don Fry. You might just think of him as a fighter, but he actually graduated from high school in Sierra Vista and then trained in judo at Fort Huachuca. There is Peyton McCormick. She with Fort Huachuca, okay? And we're checking out this movie poster before I tell you what it's all about, what the movie itself is about. Just by way of association, virtually everyone involved in this movie, the actors, the stunt double men, they are involved with Fort Huachuca, okay? Involved with the military at the very least. The person they said she was really close to was Clayton Haugen. I hope I'm saying that last name right. H-A-U-G-N, maybe it's just Hogan. And he does marketing for the defense contracting firm Dillon Aerospace. There's Don Fry. You might just think of him as a fighter, but he actually graduated from high school in Sierra Vista and then trained in judo at Fort Huachuca. There is Peyton McCormick. She, her grandfather is Colonel Pete McCormick. Her father is Lieutenant Colonel Alan McCormick, once stationed at Fort Huachuca. Peyton was also, by the way, Miss Teen USA in 2006. Priscilla Annual. And again, we can pull up that poster, Skylar, so they can just see we're going through the names here as well. Her father was a lieutenant stationed at Fort Huachuca. There's also Chantel Thuy. I didn't have too much time to go through that person's background. I bet I could find a clear connection to Fort Huachuca since that's the theme. But we can tell you that her dad worked in artificial intelligence for IBM. So I'm thinking maybe he had something to do with Fort Huachuca. And then that Price Mitchum, that just gets dark. I mean, that young man or older man got put in a Psych 5150 hold, and I don't know where that direction heads to. Long family of actors. I've got to prod that narrative a bit more. The point is that they told me there's absolutely no way that she's not familiar with Fort Huachuca. I don't know why that was said by Andrew Colvett. She most definitively was, just by nature, like I said, of what her mom did. And also, this poster proves it. Okay, that narrative is officially over. This whole, oh, this is crazy, what are we talking? Okay, that's just done. We can end that, okay? Erika in this film was set to play a character named Evelyn Mathis. We know this because we found the remnant of a Kickstarter that was still available to the public. Now, I wish I had given to this when it was first put up back in 2012, 2013, because I would then be able to open all of these posters and learn more about that particular character. But I can tell you definitively that this was a movie about corporate espionage, assassins, and technology, nanotech, all used to help the government and corporate financial institutions maintain power. I am not kidding. I'm going to read you the description here before showing you a video. It says, in the world of tomorrow, the mind has become a hard drive linked to the internet, and once the present divide between technology and humanity has become next to non-existent, driving this world forward are the many emerging multinational corporations that have grown in power far beyond the control of world governments. In this reality, financial institutions vie for dominance through corporate black ops. These clandestine endeavors are carried out by figures known as proxies, cloak and dagger assets that are hired in secret to remove rivals from power or to protect corporate capital from harm. Okay, and it tells us about the elites, the proxies, and I'm going to let you just actually take a listen to the director Clayton himself describe a bit about what this was intended to be about. I say intended because when you start reading the comments in the Kickstarter campaign, you realize they never delivered. They promised to deliver it in 2013. That didn't happen. Here is the director Clayton Hogan speaking about this movie. I got in!
Y'all, please double tap the three dots at the top right.
This is actually happening. Do it.
Get the lights up.
You guys just saw there was a visual pitch to really give you a feel for the atmosphere, but as far as concept goes, we really developed it around a number of questions that we were asking ourselves. Now, these questions range from anything from how can we manipulate someone's senses enough so that they believe a false reality, when in reality something else is going on entirely? Or even how can someone like the class geek pirate and steal, say, the varsity quarterback's, knowledge and skill set? Or even more so, how can the knowledge and skill set of a Navy SEAL be copied and, transferred to somebody else? And this concept became possible when we really pushed the boundary on what's called nanotechnology. So that's tiny little microscopic machines that carry out their function on an atomic level. Now, with nanotechnology, we were able to create this plausible and, believable mind-bending and reality-bending concept that is grounded in, developing physics theories out there and developing science. So really the question you should ask yourself is, what happens in a world where the brain is a hard drive, your eyes become video cameras, and knowledge is not learned so much it is just programs that are installed onto you?
Yeah, so that's not...
Concept that is grounded in, developing physics theories out there and developing science. So really the question you should ask yourself is, what happens in a world where the brain is a hard drive, your eyes become video cameras, and knowledge is not learned so much it is just programs that are installed onto you?
Yeah, so that's not going to help matters any in the world of us conspiracy theorists who kind of think that that's what's happening. Wasn't I just saying a couple of weeks ago that I feel like there are people that are walking around, they're like computer programs, and it's pretty obvious that they're just stealing companies, stealing land, infiltrating, doing these sorts of things. That these people are not even successful. They're just thieves. They're glorified thieves with access to the military. Again, to be clear, this project was never released, despite posting updates up to 2017. But I want to show you that to just confirm that our suspicions were correct, and that is now beyond ridiculous to suggest in any manner or form that Mitch's testimony that he plausibly saw Erika at Fort Huachuca is deranged. They're just thieves. They're glorified thieves with access to the military. Again, to be clear, this project was never released, despite posting updates up to 2017. But I want to show you that to just confirm that our suspicions were correct, and that is now beyond ridiculous to suggest in any manner or form that Mitch's testimony that he plausibly saw Erika at Fort Huachuca is deranged, crazy, or a figment of a madman's imagination. Again,
she was there.
these people who gave this to us are friends with Erika. They know her. They say she knows about this space. So let's just shut that down.
They
And
know
there's a bit
her.
more I'd like to add here. A lot of you emailed and told us about a correspondence that had taken place online, a chat where a person shortly after Charlie's assassination, before there were any conspiracies in the air, said, "Oh, I saw Erika at Fort Huachuca." This was a woman, by the way, who wrote this, and then a bunch of people started yelling at her because she said that she had seen Erika the day before, which would have been September 9th, by the way, not the 8th, and she subsequently deleted the message. And there was no reason for her to have done that other than she thought, okay, maybe I was wrong. The whole internet is so mad at me for saying this. This person has absolutely nothing to do with Mitch Snow. So somebody else had published online that they could confirm that that was real. They were friends with that person. So to make that clear to you, so you understand the chain of custody of this information, the person who posted it is currently stationed at Fort Huachuca and deleted it. The internet caught that, or somebody on the internet caught that. And then a second person who was friends with that individual, who was formerly stationed as well at Fort Huachuca, said, yeah, that post actually happened, and there's more. I guess there are chats amongst our military personnel that are stationed there, and one of them asserted in this chat that they, too, had seen Erika at Fort Huachuca, and that there was an order to lower drones on that day. So that brings us up to a total of 3 people, and the due diligence that I have done is that I have confirmed a chat where a person shortly after Charlie's assassination, before there were any conspiracies in the air, said, "Oh, I saw Erika at Fort Huachuca." This was a woman, by the way, who wrote this, and then a bunch of people started yelling at her because she said that she had seen Erika the day before, which would have been September 9th, by the way, not the 8th, and she subsequently deleted the message. And there was no reason for her to have done that other than she thought, okay, maybe I was wrong. The whole internet is so mad at me for saying this. This person has absolutely nothing to do with Mitch Snow. So somebody else had published online that they could confirm that that was real. They were friends with that person. So to make that clear to you, so you understand the chain of custody of this information, the person who posted it is currently stationed at Fort Huachuca and deleted it. The internet caught that, or somebody on the internet caught that. And then a second person who was friends with that individual, who was formerly stationed as well at Fort Huachuca, said, yeah, that post actually happened, and there's more. I guess there are chats amongst our military personnel that are stationed there, and one of them asserted in this chat that they, too, had seen Erika at Fort Huachuca, and that there was an order to lower drones on that day. So that brings us up to a total of 3 people, and the due diligence that I have done is that I have confirmed that third-party person who used to be stationed there, who knows the 2 individuals involved, okay, has a relationship with them today, is friends with them. So, again, it's important to always say what the chain of custody is in case there is a mistake. But I did my due diligence to confirm that those people are real and that those people are, in fact, stationed at Fort Huachuca, and that they made these statements not because they were being fed by the public one way or the other, but because they believed that they had seen her, okay? That puts a little more weight to the claim. Now, to be clear, I will say that once again, earlier this week, and I had to do homeschooling longer, so I have not been able to reply, but through one of the Turning Point executives, Erika did send a video that I had been asking for regarding the Fort Huachuca alibi, but it wasn't, I don't think they're comprehending what I'm asking for, so it wasn't what I was asking for, and I need to now follow up with them, which I intend to do tomorrow when we have a day off. I think it's perhaps, to be fair, because we're going through a third person, maybe it's not clear what I'm asking for, so I'm going to send a video example of what I'm asking for, and hopefully I will have an update there. But it's getting interesting, is what I would say. It's getting very interesting, and the panic of Andrew Colvett, to me, it feels like there could be something there.
Why I get triggered?
Oh yeah, they know exactly what you're asking for. They're very
When I was younger,
articulate.
it came mainly
They just want to play dumb.
from family, whether it was like a
You understand?
want to add something else here that you might find compelling. Now, I told you that there are certain themes that continue to rise throughout this investigation. We put together a chart to reflect that for you, but I want to be very clear, by no means does it mean that a person on this chart is guilty, but it's just interesting that they are recurring themes. This is an organization that's supposed to be free markets and capitalism. We are finding this Liberty University strand, the Eastern Europe strand, the trafficking and sex abuse strand, meaning either allegations, George Zinn, on that day, decoy boy, turning point faith, work, but I want to be very clear, by no means does it mean that a person on this chart is guilty, but it's just interesting that they are recurring themes. This is an organization that's supposed to be free markets and capitalism. We are finding this Liberty University strand, the Eastern Europe strand, the trafficking and sex abuse strand, meaning either allegations, George Zinn, on that day, decoy boy, turning point faith, working with this Pastor Greg Laurie, whose church is being accused of trafficking children from Romania. One of the pastors, Paul Havsgaard, they're saying that the church helped to facilitate that. Again, this is making its way through its courts, so this is all allegedly. We had Rob McCoy trying to rehabilitate a person who had abused children in the past. We talked about Tim Ballard, Operation Underground, how Phil Lyman went to see him the next day. Glenn Beck had funded that Operation Underground, which for Tim Ballard ended in scandal, without question. And people alleging that that charity was not doing what he set out to do. So that's abuse strand, meaning either allegations, George Zinn, on that day, decoy boy, turning point faith, working with this Pastor Greg Laurie, whose church is being accused of trafficking children from Romania. One of the pastors, Paul Havsgaard, they're saying that the church helped to facilitate that. Again, this is making its way through its courts, so this is all allegedly. We had Rob McCoy trying to rehabilitate a person who had abused children in the past. We talked about Tim Ballard, Operation Underground, how Phil Lyman went to see him the next day. Glenn Beck had funded that Operation Underground, which for Tim Ballard ended in scandal, without question. And people alleging that that charity was not doing what he set out to do. So that's interesting. And then we talked about Paul Vallely, that retired Army general. By the way, I think on that episode I said he was on the board. I meant to say he's on the advisory board. There is a difference, an important difference. So I do want to correct that. We got this retired Army general who actually ran psychological operations and happened to co-write a book with this guy who was a avowed Satanist. And started his own kind of Church of Satan called the Temple of Set, but he was also accused, credibly, according to the police, even though he was ultimately found not guilty due to not enough evidence. They didn't bring charges against him because they felt they didn't have enough evidence of harming a child. At the Army and Army Child Development Center, which already makes me uncomfortable that there is an Army Child Development Center. We'll talk about more of that when we get into the GATE program and some of the things that you guys told me, which was absolutely fascinating. Anyway, another thing that we've added here since is what I found to be interesting is that Erika lived in China and worked with child sex trafficking victims. Now, that is, if Erika is to be believed in her own words, she said that on a podcast in the past. I want you to listen to that podcast. Take a listen.
I decided to create something called Everyday Heroes Like You, where we're able to, originally, it was focused on bringing funds and awareness to various grassroots organizations that were in specific communities that would be able to have volunteers that are transparent with their funds, that are actually doing what they're saying they're doing, instead of just having 70% of the funds go to admin and only 30% towards the cause. It kind of grew into something more global. I was living in China and doing a lot of work with the victims from sex trafficking, and then began to phase that into working with the Marine Corps and the Army, and then was able to work with a orphanage in Romania to help sustain them during their winter seasons, and giving them more clothing items or tangible items rather than just money.
So you heard her very clearly there. It's not my imagination. She says, I was living in China and doing a lot of work
phased that into working
probably
with the
forgot.
Marine Corps and the Army,
That's what
and then was
liars do.
able
They forget their
to
story.
work with a orphanage in Romania to help sustain them during their winter seasons, and giving them more clothing items or tangible items rather than just money.
So you heard her very clearly there. It's not my imagination. She says, I was living in China and doing a lot of work with child sex trafficking victims. And that caught, obviously, my attention because somebody dug that up on the internet, and I was working on this chart of like, okay, there's a lot here to unpack. And so I instantly reached out to somebody at Turning Point USA who has been a straight shooter. Actually, I think the only person that has been willing to answer questions to get to the bottom of things. Like I said, Justin Strife, and I said, when was she living in China? I don't have, like, when was that actually? Mm-hmm. And he replied that she never lived in China. And that she said, I'm sure he took that right to her, that she never lived in China. That she only went there on a trip for a couple of weeks to see the Great Wall of China. So I don't know what to believe, Erika now or Erika then, but that's Erika versus Erika. That's a discrepancy.
Oh my
The
God.
point is that the column of child sex trafficking and orphans is about to grow a little bit more.
Oh,
So many
wow.
people were speculating as to, and Baron Coleman did a lot of work on this, talking about the planes, and they said it appears now that Charlie's plane, or it was Charlie's plane, and now appears to be Erika's plane, is frequently visiting New Braunfels, Texas, and also a place up in Idaho. A lot of plane action there, what's going on, some of it conspiracy, obviously people just investigating and trying to figure out if there's something there. And I can tell you, the answer is that she's visiting the #1 donors to Turning Point USA, and shout out to the mommy sleuth who did the work. The way they figured that out, I'm telling you, these mommy sleuths hit different. They just hit different. I mean, I was reading this, I was like, goodness, you were in the trenches here. That could be, obviously, they loaned the plane after Charlie's assassination and said you can have the plane. Who knows? That part isn't too relevant because I guess at this level, friends don't let friends fly public. Okay, sure. What is actually interesting, though, which I wanted to bring to your attention, just give me just a second here. What's interesting is that, and by the way, I do want to add here that Erika is the chairman and CEO of Turning Point, so going to see your biggest donor wouldn't exactly be a scandal. But there is something else that's interesting, and to bring you up to speed, that those donors, it was widely reported at the beginning of this year, so we're not really breaking any stories here, that the Turning Point headquarters, I believe the one in Florida, the Florida campus, was going to be renamed the Buckman campus because of the large donation from the couple, largest ever in Turning Point's history, which came from Carl and his wife, Nelda Buckman, okay? Daily Wire actually had the exclusive story on this, and that's interesting to me, the $10 million gift and renaming the headquarters. Now, Nelda gave an interview, like I said, exclusively to the Daily Wire in January about her now budding relationship with Erika, the new chairman and the CEO. She shared that after Charlie's assassination, the two of them got really close, and she revealed that the two of them had met privately in Florida ahead of America Fest and did a dedication ceremony where Nelda said that she had offered Erika personal support and spoke with her about the challenges of navigating her new reality as a single mother, leading the organization, plus carrying forward her late husband's legacy. That's directly from the article on Daily Wire Plus. She says, quote, Erika and I talked about womanhood and what our culture has been teaching our young women and what we want to teach our young women, end quote. Now, Nelda Buckman is immediately interesting to me for two reasons. The first is that when I was looking into this more, I discovered that she executively produced, which is kind of a fancy way of saying financed, the documentary, which not many people saw, which was called Identity Crisis. It was a film out of nowhere in 2024, announced on stage by Ben Shapiro. The Daily Wire and Turning Point USA were teaming up to do this film on gender. Hearing her name involved with that project, I went, funny backstory to that, which I've already shared with you guys, that part of the way that Ben gets back at people is by buying things and trying to buy people. And he was really upset that I had called him out on stage and that Charlie had my back when I got fired. And he posted that he had my back on the day that I got fired and, made a statement. Charlie, we've just been friends for years, obviously. That's not really that surprising. And so what happened thereafter was that, and I told you this because I was told this by Charlie, that Ben started putting pressure on Charlie's donors and trying to get him not to let me speak at AmFest. This was told to me by Charlie, and I was like, dude, don't even let them stress you out, because now they were kind of squeezing him, like, she can't speak, she's an anti-Semite, whatever. And I'm like, look, I'm banned from Australia. I don't even care about that, man. You don't let this bleed onto you. What I'm going through, I'll get through this. I'll be fine. I didn't know who exactly the donor was. I knew that they were feeding information also to Barry Weiss. And I then got a phone call from Andrew Colbert at that time saying to me, hey, letting you know that we're going to allow Ben to effectively buy a place at AmFest. I know he doesn't normally speak here, and we want to make sure you're okay with that, obviously, because it's so much money, and like, it's an offensive amount of money, effectively, and he's buying a spot, and now he's going to, get involved and buy up this documentary that we're doing. And I was first and foremost, I was like, this is so unbelievably petty. It's so perfectly Ben. And also, I don't care. Take his money. Like, I want you guys to be successful. Like, I am not insecure in me and Charlie's friendship at all. If he's going to have his friends go after, trying to make it look like me and Charlie aren't friends. So it was interesting to me to learn that Nelda Buckman, and I'm not saying that she necessarily was the person who put the pressure on it, but it's interesting to connect that dot, because it was particularly about this documentary that Andrew Colbert called me about, and he said, Charlie has to do this interview now with Ben, and that's what's happening. No big deal. What we can be certain of, again, that's just speculation, but what we can be certain of regarding Nelda Buckman is that she is an executive producer. She's also an artist. She's also a philanthropist. And like Erika, which is the compelling...
Did I stop? Oh. Oh, it's spinning.
And that's what's happening. No big deal. What we can be certain of, again, that's just speculation, but what we can be certain of regarding Nelda Buckman is that she is an executive producer. She's also an artist. She's also a philanthropist. And like Erika, which is the compelling...
Hold on, let me look. Just a moment. Get the likes up, please, while I figure this out. Can you hit the three dots at the top right corner? Please.
You now with if they say you're a nutcase, I would say concerned about. Like, there's all of these different regions: Austin Angels, New Jersey Angels, and now he's gonna get involved and buy up this. That we're going to allow Ben to effectively buy a place at AmFest. I know he doesn't normally speak here, and we want to make sure you're okay with that, obviously, because it's so much money, and like, it's an offensive amount of money, effectively, and he's buying a spot, and now he's gonna get involved and buy up this documentary that we're doing. And I was first and foremost, I was like, this is so unbelievably petty. It's so perfectly Ben. And also, I don't care. Take his money. Like, I want you guys to be successful. Like, I am not insecure in me and Charlie's friendship at all. If he's going to have his friends go after, trying to make it look like me and Charlie aren't friends. So it was interesting to me to learn that Nelda Buckman, and I'm not saying that she necessarily was the person who put the pressure on it, but it's interesting to connect that dot, because it was particularly about this documentary that Andrew Colbert called me about, and he said, Charlie has to do this interview now with Ben, and that's what's happening. No big deal. What we can be certain of, again, that's just speculation, but what we can be certain of regarding Nelda Buckman is that she is an executive producer. She's also an artist. She's also a philanthropist. And like Erika, which is the compelling part here, she has done extensive work with foster children and in particular sex trafficking victims. Okay, Nelda works with National Angels, so it's like there's all of these different regions, Austin Angels, New Jersey Angels. She works with all of them to help foster children. Okay, I don't really have a gripe about that. I think I have shared, my mother spent time in a group home. There is a need. I am particularly open to the fact that there is a need and that the system is not great. But, and this part I am, I would say, concerned about. It doesn't mean I'm concerned about Nelda, but this project in general existing gives me pause and gives me concern because Nelda is one of the largest donors, she might even be the largest donor, to Courage House Nevada. Okay? I don't like anything that happens in Nevada. Blackmail rings, there's a lot of stuff that happens, Las Vegas, obviously. And this nonprofit, which advertises itself as providing safe homes for child sex trafficking survivors, and per its website in April 2025, it purchased a 40-acre property in Washoe County, Nevada, okay? It planned to house 6 resident children. That's a lot of space for 6 children. All of these children are female, and it should be noted that this is a psychiatric residential treatment facility. Different powers for the state if they say you're a nutcase, okay? They can just do things and keep you, and that's immediately upon its opening that November. This is the goal, a 40-acre property as you see, and we're gonna house 6 girls. And it has a capacity for 18 as cottages are being built. That's their long-term goal, is to provide care to 12 more children, total capacity 18 across these 3 cottages. Again, 40 acres for 18 children feels like a lot to me. But I want to stress here, the goal is not to just temporarily house these sex trafficking victims. The first thing that stood out to me as unusual, and I'm grateful that this mommy sleuth went down and dug this up, is that the Courage House is reportedly located in a confidential, secure location, meaning that we have no way to tell where these girls are going to be kept. Now, to justify this, the founder of Courage Worldwide says, oh, well, told local news, there are people out in the world that want to hurt these girls. That's why we have to find a rural place and, quote, where it's hard for them to leave or for someone to find them. And so the mommy sleuth that emailed me was like, what do they mean it's hard for them to leave? So you've got these children
that
are
leave.
Sex trafficking victims
Oh my
that
God.
are being brought to this 40-acre campus to live in these cottages, and it's hard for them to leave. That's mommy sleuth is right. It's creepy. It's very creepy to state it that way. And exactly, by the way, who's hunting down these sex trafficking victims? It's also unusual that they're implying throughout the website that these girls can be as young as 4 to 6 years old.
Yeah.
And they say that they will have the careers that they dream of. They're going to offer them tuition support so then they'll pay for their college.
Trump and
they are going to house them long term.
That sounds like
they
Trump
specifically
and
outline
Epstein.
how excited they are that Nevada has changed its laws, which means
That sounds like
that
Trump and Epstein.
they don't have to leave on their 18th birthday.
Oh,
that those
wow.
girls can now stay until they're 21.
Oh, wow.
I don't like it.
At all.
I just don't like it. I don't like any of this. And again, it's 4 to 6 years old, and they say that they will have the careers
They
that
can't leave.
quote, where it's hard for them to leave
Yeah, no.
or for someone to find them.
So, no.
But I want to stress here, the goal is not
Let me hear this
6
again.
girls, and it has a capacity for 18 as cottages are being built. That's their long-term goal, is to provide care to 12 more children, total capacity 18, across these 3 cottages. Again, 40 acres for 18 children feels like a lot to me. But I want to stress here, the goal is not to just temporarily house these sex trafficking victims. The first thing that stood out to me as unusual, and I'm grateful that this mommy sleuth went down and dug this up, is that the Courage House is reportedly located in a confidential, secure location, meaning that we have no way to tell where these girls are going to be kept. Now, to justify this, the founder of Courage Worldwide says, oh, well, told local news, there are people out in the world that want to hurt these girls. That's why we have to find a rural place and, quote, where it's hard for them to leave or for someone to find them. And so the mommy sleuth that emailed me was like, what do they mean it's hard for them to leave? So you've got these children that are sex trafficking victims that are being brought to this 40-acre campus to live in these cottages, and it's hard for them to leave. That's mommy sleuth is right. It's creepy. It's very creepy to state it that way. And exactly, by the way, who's hunting down these sex trafficking victims? It's also unusual that they're implying throughout the website that these girls can be as young as 4 to 6 years old, and they say that they will have the careers that they dream of. They're going to offer them tuition support, so they're then going to pay for them to go to college. They are going to house them long term, and they specifically outline how excited they are that Nevada has changed its laws, which means that they don't have to leave on their 18th birthday, that those girls can now stay until they're 21. I don't like it. I just don't like it. I don't like any of this. And again, I am not at all implying that the Buckmans have a hand in that. It's more just...
I ain't saying that they don't either.
Just learning about these stories and covering these stories, even my own ignorance. Like I used to give annually, just so you guys know, to Operation Underground, which was run by Tim Ballard. And then they had a bit of a scandal. And I think that all of us, since we're such normal people, we assume that when these charities are dedicating themselves to sex trafficking victims, that they are actually trying to help sex trafficking victims.
Nope, they
but
re-victimize
the scandals
them.
of a lot of these charities, the way that they're being sued, doesn't sound like that at all, okay? It sounds like some of these charities, and again, I'm not saying that the Nevada House is one of these, are involved in the trafficking. And to what aim? Nevada doesn't seem like the right place for that at all. A lot of creeps go to Nevada, right? That's where Las Vegas is. That's where people are actively trying to hook up with children, right? That's where they go for their vices. And now we're just gonna have a 40-acre farm, and we're not allowed to know where it is. We're not allowed to know who's in there, and we're being told it's for their protection. I don't feel great about that.
Yeah, and if they want to go,
actually, I think we need to revisit the topic of these child sex trafficking charities. Full stop. Full stop.
I agree.
Because I'm getting a sense, I'm going to tell you, this is my sense. I'm getting a sense, and we know how Jeffrey Epstein also gave to schools, right? Donated to schools.
Yeah, and
money,
Ghislaine Maxwell
go revisit
was
just what
over
charities
some
donated to. I would be certain that some of them were sex trafficking charities. I'm getting a sense that some of them are involved implicitly in trafficking victims and then traumatizing these people as their children, and then almost having these children develop, which was determined, the precursor to MK Ultra, which actually took place with Nazi scientists that were then brought over here, with Operation Paperclip, that they know that when you abuse a child, and then if you raise a child, and Sigmund Freud illustrates this in the book that we're currently reading in book club, that you can create a psychopath. You can also create someone that has dissociative disorder. It's like almost like they're not people. I feel like these people are going through programs. They're turning these people onto society. They're like robots walking among us. I say that and they mock that. Don't mock it. I think these are the White Walkers. This is the sense of dread that I have, that there has been some sort of an effort and some sort of a program that's happening wherein children are being harmed, and then they're being offered all sorts of things, and like now you're in the club. I mean, this is, by the way, stuff that happens in gangs as well. It's like how you pledge a gang. I mean, when you get to the bottom of what's guiding the idea of even hazing in fraternities, it's like you're going to suffer, and then you're one of us, okay? That's what's informing it. It's like a kind of trauma that's then going to commit you further to their cause. And I think that's happening. I think there are, to use obviously an analogy here, White Walkers among us. I really do believe that. And these people, there's something about them where I just look at them and I think something happened to you when you were a child. I felt this way spiritually when I looked at Astrid Tumenez, who, by the way, has just stepped down from Utah Valley University, which is announced. The president of Utah Valley University, who was not there on that day, despite the fact that it was the first week of school, she was not there on the day of Charlie's assassination. It looks like she was involved in some color revolution stuff for the CIA. She was a fostered child, was rescued from the Philippines. I can't explain it. I looked at Astrid Tumenez just doing an interview, and I was just like, childhood trauma, question mark? I don't know. But I'm putting it out there. And we'll find out if I'm right by how much they freak out and pay. She was a fostered child, was rescued from the Philippines. I can't explain it. I looked at Astrid Tumenez here, White Walkers among us. I really do believe that. And these people, there's something about them where I just look at them and I think something happened to you when you were a child. I felt this way spiritually when I looked at Astrid Tumenez, who, by the way, has just stepped down from Utah Valley University, which is announced. The president of Utah Valley University, who was not there on that day, despite the fact that it was the first week of school. She was not there on the day of Charlie's assassination. It looks like she was involved in some color revolution stuff for the CIA. She was a fostered child, was rescued from the Philippines. I can't explain it. I looked at Astrid Tumenez just doing an interview, and I was just like, childhood trauma, question mark? I don't know. But I'm putting it out there. And we'll find out if I'm right.
Don't know, but she know something ain't right.
To make videos going, oh, it's so crazy that Candace is suggesting that the military is converting a bunch of people into like a sleeper cell army.
She don't know, but she know, y'all. We don't know, but we know. There's a pattern here. Yeah, it seems like this is how they get re-victimized. They see that there's already some trauma. Oh, yeah. I mean, easy target. You know, what does it matter? They've already been damaged. I mean, you know. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me see. Thank you, Angela. I'm sorry. I wasn't paying attention. I was kind of listening and doing something else, y'all. So thank you, ma'am. I greatly appreciate it. Yeah, can I get y'all to double tap the face on your phone? I'm almost an hour in. Double tap, or hit the 3 dots at the top right corner in. I'll wait. Come on, y'all. Come on. Let's get the likes in and out the way so we don't have to stop and pause for a cause. Somebody took 2 likes away. Okay, we're going to have to sit twice as long. Thank you. You're welcome. I'm loving your show. Thank you so very much. I greatly appreciate that.
Of abused kids that are now adults and will just do whatever they say. When they start paying for that campaign, that propaganda campaign, we can then go ahead and take what I say to the bank. We'll be right back after a quick break. All right, you guys, we have seen Sky. You can find them by visiting nimiskincare.com. This is, by the way, for people. This is, by the way, for your order. All right, let's get to Nick Fuentes. Staying on this theme, it sort of feels like over time they've been softening things and making it sound different. This is, by the way, for people who initially, and I know people have changed their minds as things grew more radical, but I think people who initially were supporting the transgender movement were not doing so out of evil. They just, it's, you know, this kid's going through some stuff, or I want to be a supportive parent. I think they were very ill-guided. It was obvious to me that as soon as you start saying that children had the authority when they're 4 to decide about their bodies.
No.
We know what comes next. We just know what comes next. It's obvious. And it's never, they're always trying to throw these things out to exist between like a left-right paradigm, but it's just the sickos at the top trying to accomplish their aims and also slowly introducing this in
That's
culture.
like,
We spoke about
heck,
that.
they can't
how
even
they're
wear what
now
they
kind
want
of
to wear
selling
at
us
3, 4, 5,
incest
6, 7, and 8.
pedophilia at all times. And of course, if you've read Hollywood Babylon in our book club, then you know that this is the founding story of Hollywood. That is Hollywood's founding story. They were after this Babylonian culture. They largely imported a bunch of Viennese directors who had been engaging in pedophilia over in Vienna, and that it was rampant. It was just rampant. Anyway, Nick Fuentes is one of these people who is trying to soften it. So for clarity, before we listen to this clip, Jeffrey Epstein had been accused of trafficking children 8 years old, 11 years old. He, for his own birthday, as a birthday present to himself, found some 12-year-old triplets who were dirt poor, and his friend, Jean-Luc Brunel in Paris, flew
Flew
these
for his birthday.
12-year-old triplets to Jeffrey Epstein, okay? No one's
For his
arguing
birthday.
about Jeffrey Epstein's perverted interest, a sexual interest. Someone's arguing that. However, Nick Fuentes is going to explain why, actually, that's not pedophilia.
Oh, wow.
This whole pedo thing, it's like, is it really pedophilia? I don't want to be the one that has to say it, but I guess I'm being forced to say it. It's not really pedophilia, okay?
What do you mean?
They weren't trafficking 5-year-olds.
What do you mean? He's being forced. He don't really want to have to say, wait, what you say, clown? Oh, my bad. I shouldn't have touched it. Oh my God. What did this clown say?
The issue there, okay? The issue is it really pedophilia? I don't want to be the one that has to say it, but I guess I'm being forced to say it. It's not really pedophilia, okay? They weren't trafficking 5-year-olds. It was like they were technically not legal. Big difference, in my opinion. I know that's a controversial take, but that's not really the issue there, okay? The issue is not that they were barely legal teens, which is what it is. It's horrendous. It's awful. It's pedophilia. Okay, relax. No, the issue is that Epstein is a Jewish spy, probably working with Israel. Is it really pedophilia? I don't want to be the one that has to say it.
A sexual interest. Someone's arguing that. However, Nick Fuentes is going to explain why, actually, that's not pedophilia. Take a listen.
This whole pedo thing, it's like, is it really pedophilia? I don't want to be the one that has to say it, but I guess I'm being forced to say it. It's not really pedophilia, okay? They weren't
let him play with your kids.
5-year-olds. It was like they were technically not legal. Big difference, in my opinion. I know that's a controversial take, but that's not really the issue there, okay? The issue is not that they were barely legal teens, which is what it is. It's horrendous. It's awful. It's pedophilia. Okay, relax. No, the issue is that Epstein is a Jewish spy, probably working with Israel.
What does that have to do with three
Israeli
kids being sent to him?
Let's be honest.
Oh my
there are
God, these
zillions of
people are
things you probably
sick.
can look for insurance. Like assembling whatever that's supposed to be.
This is sick. So he's a Zionist.
Honestly, this is a time where it is appropriate to say this. Stop. That's it. That's all I have to say. Stop. Stop.
I like it. Water. Okay.
which is what it is. It's horrendous. It's awful. It's pedophilia. Okay, relax. No, the issue is that Epstein is a Jewish spy, probably working with Israel. That's the dilemma there. He's working with Israeli intelligence.
Honestly, this is a time where it is appropriate to say this. Stop. That's it.
Oh,
That's
tell
all I
him
have to
that.
say.
Stop.
Agree. I watched just stop right there. Why are we always here in society for no reason? How
Right.
easy is it not to do that? Okay? Not to try to use some technicality, which, by the way, who do you think is in control of these definitions, by the way? I mean, they are changing the definition of what it means to be a girl and a boy right now. So if you can find, well, look at this definition. Technically, if the person is 11, if the person's not under 5,
Oh,
who
wow.
cares if they're prepubescent? The point is not pedophilia. We're just, we've
Wow.
expanded the definition. We're constantly expanding and changing definitions to confuse people against common sense, okay? If you are sexually interested in prepubescent children,
You sick.
you're a pedophile. How about that? Is that easy? Thumbs up? Cool? We good? And what is just so remarkable to me, and like I said, I've been fine with him doing his thing. Obviously, he's a federal informant. It's ridiculous for people that don't understand that. It's ridiculous that people just keep following him despite the overwhelming evidence. I mean, this guy took a meeting with Dan Wilkes' partner after years of screaming about Ben Shapiro and talking about Israel. He took a meeting with Defend Texas Liberty and Ferris Wilkes' partner, and pitched, they actually, one reporter got documents, was pitching to sell the data of his followers. And people were like, that's fine. He led people into a Capitol with a bullhorn and said, ignore police, storm the barriers, as if he had fed instructions. And we know for a fact he was informed the night before by Milo Yiannopoulos.
Hey, y'all, it's 271 people in. I need for y'all to hit the 3 dots at the top right corner and get the likes up, please. Please, please, please. Come on, you can hit the 3 dots at the top right corner, wherever they are, wherever the thumbs up is. Hit it, hit it. Ba-doo. Hit it. Hit it. Okay. Come on.
That the
I
feds were going to
shouldn't
be
have
that
to
there
ask
was
y'all
some
to
Fed
do
trap
that.
happening, and despite that, he went with a bullhorn. He didn't just attend; he had a bullhorn, and he's telling people to storm, and he doesn't get arrested. And his lawyer wants to go off record when he's asked directly about whether or not he is a federal informant. It's been so in your face and obvious.
And why would you have
The
to even
ridiculous,
bring that
I
up and
just
talk
got
about
a quarter million
kids?
in Bitcoin from France from a guy who's killed himself and published a letter 24 hours after he was dead, because he set it on a timer, and it's in perfect English. And anybody who's ever been to France, French people don't speak perfect English. They are not writing a letter in English, even if they speak perfect English. It's just been so absurd that it offends my senses. It offends my sensibility that people have been following him. This is a Glee Club kid, okay? He's dramatic. I like Nick Fuentes clips. Like I like watching Real Housewives clips. And this is, by the way, the problem, as I've said, that heterosexual men cannot continue to follow theater boys. This is actually an illness in our society, is that people who are playing the part of men and are actually at their core theater boys and want to go to Congress and want to have platforms and would never fight wars, they are, for whatever reason, being listened to by actual men. This was just unbelievable to me that the statement was made, and you couldn't see that it was going to end here. Of course, this is what happens. This is what happens when you elect or you decide that you're going to follow people who don't like women. That's the reality. They don't like women, so family offends them. And despite making that statement, he then tries to do a 180 and pretend he didn't just say what we heard him say. Here's what he said in a follow-up, where he's going to yell at you for hearing what he just said, which is that it's not pedophilia. Take a listen.
This is not just about somebody was trafficking girls somewhere. That's not the story. The story is someone was trafficking
It's
girls
sick freak
to
too.
acquire blackmail to sell to Israel. That is the point, and that is what I said last night. I said for someone to make it all about pedophilia, I said it's kind of just like it's not really true, because again, it does get away from what's happening there. It is not satanic pedophilia cult stuff. It is really run-of-the-mill prostitution and sex trafficking, but for a international political purpose.
But it's
And
still
important
minors.
not to lose sight of that. I saw Marjorie Greene say this is about female victims. It's actually not about female victims.
Oh my God.
It's about the integrity of our government. You understand the difference? It's not to say we're not sympathetic. It's not to say that it's not criminal. It's not to say that it's good. I'm not defending it. I'm saying this is not Dateline. This is not a human interest story. This is a layered crime. It's one crime in the furtherance of a much more politically significant crime. But all these dumb I mean, they literally just don't have the IQ to understand that. For them, it's just about screeching about the same nonsense every day. They don't understand what they're talking about. They have no idea about anything. They hear something they don't like. They say, oh, he's with Israel now. He got paid. I'm sorry. I've been doing this way longer than you. When did you come on the scene? When did you get red pilled? Last year? 10 minutes ago? When did you start talking about this stuff? Oh, now you're the expert and the gatekeeper. I'm done with that. I'm out. Seriously. You don't have to unfollow me because I'm out. This whole movement of Gen X idiots that are obsessed with satanic pedophile elite and psycho conspiracy kookery that doesn't even make sense, this Candace Owens bull, I'm out of all that. Seriously.
Oh, he's talking about King.
I'm done with it.
Yeah, this is the kid who sat across from me and said that people that are sub-Saharan just don't have a high IQ. Let me tell you what he strikes me as. Nick strikes me as someone who was really bright in high school. Then he got a little bit of fame and he stopped reading books. That's it. This is what happens. People go, I made it. I don't have to learn anymore. I can just shut off my brain and keep repeating the same talking points. Because if you do not understand that this is a cult, that the theology matters
He may be
much
in
more
one.
than the politics. Okay?
He look like he
This,
could have them
left-right
eyebrows
dialectic,
going up
it means
like
nothing
horns.
until you understand the theology that is guiding these elites worldwide. And it is, in fact, occultic. It is, in fact, satanic. And these are, in fact, ritualistic. It's all over. You need but read articles that are in your face or conduct even a minor incursion into the history of psychology, which was brought upon our shores, a minor incursion even to the establishment of Hollywood. It's right there in your face. And by the way, it is actually low IQ anti-Semitism, like you call it, to just go, oh, well, that's just all Jews. That's why I don't like Dave Smith. I don't even like Dave Smith, even though he's completely on our side on everything. It's him. That's actually what low IQ anti-Semitism is. Because to be clear, this occultic, ritualistic stuff, these people are gypsies. They exist in every faith. Let's be clear, Aleister Crowley was a student of this. Did Aleister Crowley exist? Did Jack Parsons exist? Who established the Apollo program at NASA? Was he similarly conducting occult sexual rituals to establish a moon child? Did we then suddenly go to the moon after the Apollo program was established? So actually, Nick, it's you that is demonstrating that you have a low IQ, or rather that you are trying to tell your audience to stop learning. You're trying to convince them, and by the way, you're trying to convince them that Satan is a conspiracy theory. Keep focused on the minutia. The left versus right, right? It's Israel versus America. It's not bigger than that. There's no global conspiracy happening. We weren't told that Satan's going to inherit the earth. This is why he also strikes me as someone who does not attend mass regularly. First, because of the way he speaks. There is such a thing as having a Catholic conscience. It's difficult to speak in the manner that he does all the time. If you were attending mass, which he should do, I think it would make him a better person. But far be it from me to give Nick Fuentes any suggestions, Because the last time when I just asked him who he was dating, or like, hey, you're gonna get married one day, he lost his mind. He started acting like a raging homosexual.
Offense, like,
Calling
yeah,
me
he
all
don't
sorts
get
of things,
touched
of course,
back
when he
there.
was in the comfort of his own home, and very much embodying the stereotype of women that you see on reality
Yeah.
TV. This is
They're trying to
actually
convince
was
you.
his reply to me for asking him about whether he wanted to get married one day.
Manipulation.
Sit down and shut the f up, bitch. That's what a man has to say.
Wait, what?
Just a general rule. If you have to say I'm a man, which he then follows up by saying I'm a real man, you probably aren't one that you see on reality TV. This is actually was his reply to me for asking him about whether he wanted to get married one day.
Sit down and shut the f up, bitch. That's what a man has to say.
Oh, wow,
Just a
yeah,
general
no.
rule. If you have to
He's a
say
little
I'm a man, which he then follows
fruity.
up by saying I'm a real man, you probably aren't one. Hey, Brigitte, if you got a suit to prove you're a woman, you're probably not one. Real men, their natural inclination is to protect women and children. That's a fact. A woman's natural inclination is to respect men when they are exhibiting the attributes of true masculinity, protecting women and children. Not getting up on a platform and trying to soft sell definition of pedophilia by saying, well, it wasn't 5-year-olds, and so it's okay. And by the way, to that clip of him yelling, all I can ever see is the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Take a look at this.
Sit down and shut the f up, bitch. That's what a man has to say.
A real man. That's how I talk to my sisters when they took my shirt when I was in high school. I just yell, scream at them, and point. Anyway, it's a call for actual real men to stand up and become leaders and to help us fight what we are fighting, which is a spiritual war. Yes, it does matter, and perhaps the wrong person to deliver this line from which movie, I forgot which movie this is, but it is true. Unusual Suspects, the usual suspects, Skylar has corrected me, but this quotation is definitively true. Take a listen.
The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he didn't exist.
Actually, maybe he was the exact right person to deliver that line. Let's take a brief break and then discuss some of your comments
Oh,
from
yeah,
yesterday's
he
episode about the
exists.
gate program, which were fascinating. All right, you guys, do you maybe owe back taxes, or maybe you haven't filed taxes in years? Well, now is there is no better time than now. Rate. American Financing is saving their customers an average of 8 obligations to
double
how much you could
tap.
be saving, and they are closing some in as fast as 10 days and even delaying 2 mortgage payments. So call 800/Owens. That's my trigger, man. That's my one trigger, kids, whether it's kids being blown up in Palestine, kids being trafficked, it's just leave the kids alone. And for whatever reason, we just can't agree on that as a society. We cannot agree on that. Anyway, if you'd like to support our show, we have new merch on the website. It's amazing. It's actually my favorite merch drop. You can also buy the autographed bundle, the hard copy autographed bundle, both of my books, Make Him a Sandwich and Blackouts, hand signed. Gate kids, how dare she talk about Project Looking Glass, which was real. If I've lost it, then the CIA lost it, bro. Signed by me. Do not use a stamp, so you will have an actual original signature from me twice if you buy that bundle. And come on. Conspiracy Girly mugs they are serving. There's actually another one somewhere. I'll have that for next week. Want to get to comments from yesterday's episode. Also, it's just this, talk about the usual suspects making views. Candace is really lost it this time. She suggested gate kids. How dare she talk about Project Looking Glass, which was real. If I've lost it, then the CIA lost it, bro. And they lost it a long time ago. And you guys are working for them. It's pretty clear. Of course, the CIA is hiding technology. How foolish would you have to be to think that they would allow us to learn technology with them? That's not how people who are hungry for power operate. And unfortunately, enough of us have common sense that we are not falling for these ridiculous PR campaigns. Anyway, regarding the GATE program and any other child development program that's in schools for extraordinary students or gifted and talented students, there was this comment, yesterday's episode. I have to read this. This was from Nika. Nika wrote, hey, Shannon, a tag gate kid here, total memory blackout from ages 4 to 10, the exact years, because that was responding to a comment of somebody else who had a memory blackout being a part of this program. The exact years that I was at Fort Hood on base. Later 80s, later 80s, early 90s, military brat. Dad was a doctor doing residency adjacent to a biolab at the Army hospital. I wouldn't follow protocol as a kid after the program had skipped me a grade, etc. And so after the Army, I got shuffled through 4 different schools that I later discovered are all connected to the DoD through the Aspen Education Group. I think they changed the name. I have docs, but yeah. And shell companies. I've gone through hell and back with loads of FOIAs to my name, just trying to figure out what happened to me at Turnabout Ranch in Escalante, Utah. New Horizons Academy, now closed for abuse in Marion, Indiana. Its sister school, child slaver labor work camp in the middle of nowhere called Missinaibi Woods Academy in Canada. They have another school in the DR, but I didn't go there. Also, Darlington in Rome, Georgia, and of course, Texas. The struggle is real. Keep up the good fight, Candace. Thanks for making it safe to talk about this publicly. I legit have gone through hell and back, and I know the neighborhood because of all of this. The weird phenomena is real. Lights break above my head when I flipped a switch, cabinets slam when I get mad enough, and I can, I don't know, I guess connect with what I can only describe as stars that respond to my request, like please move or light up, etc. I know this sounds insane, I don't care though, it's no measure of health to be well adjusted to a profoundly sick society, and I'm grateful I don't fit in, not cut from the same cloth, but whatever happened to us as kids, we deserve answers. While I personally don't care about retribution, just answers. You're giving us permission to speak our truth. Thank you. And there were so many comments of people reflecting this. That they, yes, when I run, I was in the gate program, lights go out. I told you that was something that Charlie said. And it's so weird. They're like mocking Charlie by mocking me. He said it. He said he thought he was a time traveler. He went to a special school. And yeah, it's very interesting that these programs existed. I honestly think I was spared. So interesting to hear you say if they wanted to transfer you to a special academy, because the same thing happened to me. I took the test. It was 3rd grade, I remember, and all the kids got their state test exams back, and mine was late. And I was sitting in Miss Balistreri's class. And then they brought my mom in, and they were like, you know, Candace got a very high score on this, and we'd like to put her in what was called the Extraordinary Learners Program. And after being in a couple of these classes, they then said to my mom that we would like to pay for her to go all expenses to this academy, Kilo Haywood private school.
What?
And my mom.
Oh, wow. That did happen to somebody I know. My first boyfriend. Oh, wow. Now that I'm thinking about it, they wanted to pay for him to go to, I think it was St. Mark's. I don't know if it was all boys, but I think it was off of Inwood. Yeah, for after testing him. So it is something to that. They just come out of nowhere based on how you score and offer to pay. Oh, wow. Boy, but you can be smart one way and loopy another. I ain't gonna lie.
Ages of 50 and
Sometimes
60 with
people
such
too
beautiful
smart.
hair. It turns out that since
Care about retribution, just answers. You're giving us classes. They then said to my mom that we would like to pay for her to go all expenses to this academy, Kinglow Haywood private school. And my mom was like, well, you should go. This is an amazing opportunity. And then I started bursting out in tears, crying, being like, Mom, please don't make me go. We had just changed schools, elementary schools. And I was like, I just made new friends again. I do not want to make new friends. Essentially, I promise I will be an idiot. Just do not make me change schools. And I wonder, first off, I did. I then purposely did, like, was trying not to do the best. I still, was in AP honors classes, but I was kind of very reticent about school. And I do remember I still had to do the ELP program. I remember us going on buses to separate schools. It's really interesting to think about what is the actual aim of these programs, probably to identify kids and make sure that if they are in any measure brilliant, and I'm not saying that I'm brilliant, I just happen to be in one of these programs, they probably want you to work for the government. They probably want to make sure that they can track you, and that is a totally sensible conclusion, especially if you read through the comments. Guys, you must. I feel like I could do a whole series on these programs now. I want to just investigate these programs. I think there are some, by the way, podcasts that are doing that. But yeah, it was just amazing to read your comments. People that talked about which DOD people came to meet with them, that they had to sit down with Army people, had to sit down with military people. It is all there. It is happening in the comment section. We need Brett Cooper back. That's what I'm saying. We need Brett Cooper to go deep
That's
in this
interesting.
comment section. I'd pay for that. Anyway, I will read some more comments from today's episode. Rachel writes, Satan knows that his time is short. The same future that they kept seeing, from yesterday's episode, is that God wins. He always wins. That's how I feel. That is how I feel about Project Looking Glass. Like, how do we change this? How do we change this? And so they are now probably just putting a bunch of White Walkers all across society. You know what I mean when I say White Walkers? Just abused children that they've kind of turned into automated programs and will do whatever they say. That's what I feel is happening. I'm also struck, I know I'm kind of ranting at you guys now, but I'm also struck by this push toward Greenland. I'll tell you why, because I was like, why are we suddenly talking about Greenland so much? Like, I'm not saying that
They want to
we don't have a
rebuild.
history of discussing Greenland as an asset, but it feels like they're kind of ratcheting that up. And they're like, no, we need Greenland tomorrow. I'm like, what's going on? I had no idea that we had this military base, underground military base that was established there, particularly to launch missiles during the Cold War. So America is quite literally invested there. But the missile thing was a trigger for me because I showed you that as a part of Charlie's predictions, not only was he going to die, but he felt that there was some devastation coming pertaining to a war involving missiles. I can't remember the exact text message, but that's interesting to me. That is all of it I find to be compelling, and that's why I talk about it on my show, because it's my show, and it's what I'm interested in, and I'm sorry that I don't suffer from whatever it is that makes people think that the cool kids are the ones that listen to the government. I think you are the lamest people ever. The people that take money to repeat government talking points, like, you are just so lame, you're so uncool, like, and trying to make it cool, like Gretchen trying to make fetch. It's not working. We don't care. We're going to talk about this stuff. We're going to talk about the GATE program. We're going to talk about telepathy. We're going to talk about kids running with streetlights that are going off. And yeah, it's opening up a lot. And I think that it has the government quite nervous. And in the end, you're going to speak about the fact that Christ will win. In fact, in many ways, he has already won. Okay, read a couple of more comments from today's episode. Jesus is King, appropriately, from Luke. Praying constantly, sending my angel to help you, and Tucker. Nick, I like him, but he doesn't know what he's talking about. Been making YouTube videos for 10 years, but now with the spiritual battle, I need to help. I would love to have you on my pod in the future. Thank you. Yeah, he's just not equipped for this at all, actually. And he should take some time off and learn, actually. Maybe he can learn from a sub-Saharan African. That might help him. Jess writes, Christ is King, go Max. Matthew Alvarado writes, I can see the Groypers losing their minds over this. You guys have no idea how much he keeps saying that he's done talking about you, but clearly has not stopped since. He knows deep down that you are right. He's got potential. He could read some books and he could be helpful, but
Yeah, I don't want to hear about him. I'm gonna go out on hear what this is about. Likes are not up, so I'm not going to keep asking. Not tonight. I want to hear what.
Okay, so here's the thing. If you're just joining us right now, you need to understand something. What happened this morning in federal court is not normal. This is not one of those procedural motion gets filed. Lawyers argue about deadlines, everyone goes home situations. This is something else entirely. And before we dive in, if you're watching this and you care about democracy, about accountability, about what happens when the rule of law actually means something, hit that subscribe button right now. Turn on notifications, because this story is moving fast and you're going to want to stay with us. So, this morning, before most Americans had even finished their first cup of coffee, a federal judge issued an order that landed like a bomb in Donald Trump's world. And I don't use that word lightly. This was not a setback. This was not a delay. This was a judicial order demanding immediate compliance, and the consequences started unfolding in real time. Let me be clear about what makes this different. Most court decisions, and stay with me here because this is important, most court decisions give you weeks, sometimes months. They give legal teams time to strategize, to file motions, to appeal, to do all the things that Trump's lawyers have become masters at doing. The delay game, the procedural shuffle, we've watched it for years. This order didn't allow for any of that. This one came down fast, binding, enforceable immediately, no grace period, no breathing room, no escape hatch. Sources close to Trump's team described the atmosphere at Mar-a-Lago as one of genuine alarm. And think about that for a second. This is a team that has spent years navigating legal pressure through combative confidence, through media blitzes, through strategic delays. That playbook. It stopped working this morning. Advisors were caught completely off guard. Lawyers huddled over documents, searching desperately for any angle that might provide relief. Phones lit up nonstop. And according to multiple sources, even Trump himself, a man who has built his entire public persona on never looking rattled, seemed shaken. He understood, perhaps for the first time, that this moment carried risks unlike anything he had faced before. Here's what you need to understand about the speed of this. Federal judges don't issue instant enforcement orders casually. This is extraordinarily rare. This kind of rapid judicial action is typically reserved, and I want you to really hear this, it's reserved for situations where delay could cause irreversible harm, where waiting even a few days poses immediate serious risks. The fact that Trump is now subject to such an order tells us something critical. The judiciary is treating this situation with exceptional seriousness. This isn't posturing. This isn't theater. This is a federal court saying, in essence, this cannot wait. And Trump's team had no time to regroup, no opportunity to spin the narrative before consequences kicked in. They were suddenly operating under conditions they had never faced before. High pressure, high stakes happening in full public view. Now, let's talk about what happened on Capitol Hill, because this is where it gets really interesting. Republican lawmakers found themselves in an incredibly difficult position almost instantly. For years, many of them had either defended Trump directly or carefully avoided any confrontation with his base. That strategy worked when legal troubles could be framed as distant, as theoretical, as something that would be resolved eventually, somehow. This ruling changed that calculation overnight. Standing too close to Trump now meant potentially sharing in whatever legal fallout was coming, but stepping away publicly. That risked alienating millions of loyal supporters who still see him as the leader of their movement. Behind closed doors, conversations reportedly turned serious fast. Some officials quietly discussed contingency scenarios. Others weighed how to respond without burning bridges on either side. And a few, and this is significant, a few began preparing statements that emphasized constitutional principles. Statements about respecting court
he ain't
decisions.
never been with a female.
Statements that signaled subtly but unmistakably a shift away from Trump. The fractures within the Republican Party, long papered over by shared political interests, were now becoming visible.
Got too angry
and
for
this
me.
instant court order was the catalyst. The public reaction was immediate and intense. News alerts buzzed on millions of phones. Cable networks interrupted regular programming. Social media feeds lit up with theories, concerns, arguments, speculation. Everyone seemed to understand instinctively that this wasn't just another chapter in the Trump saga. This was a pivotal moment. Breaking news chyrons flashed across every screen. Political analysts appeared on air to explain the significance. Legal experts emphasized how unusual this kind of rapid judicial action truly was, and political observers noted what was becoming obvious to everyone. Something serious was happening, and it was happening right now. By midday, the narrative had shifted entirely. It was no longer about whether Trump would face consequences. It was about when and how those consequences would unfold. If you're finding this valuable, do me a favor, hit that like button, share this with someone who needs to understand what's happening. This is the kind of story that everyone should be paying attention to. Now, let's go inside Mar-a-Lago. Sources describe the scene as organized chaos. Advisors moved between calls, reviewing legal language, coordinating responses, trying to stay ahead of a situation that was evolving by the hour. Lawyers warned that even minor missteps could trigger enforcement actions. Financial advisors began reviewing accounts and to stay ahead of a situation that was evolving by chaos. Advisors moved between calls, reviewing legal language, and should be paying attention to. Now, let's go inside Mar-a-Lago. Sources describe the scene as organized chaos. Advisors moved between calls, reviewing legal language, coordinating responses.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Trying to stay ahead of a situation that was evolving by the hour. Lawyers warned that even minor missteps could trigger enforcement actions. Financial advisors began reviewing accounts and assets, aware that the order could impact Trump's business operations directly. The tension was palpable, and for the first time in a long while, the usual confidence that defined Trump's inner circle seemed genuinely shaken. Trump himself was reportedly more subdued than usual, at least in private. He held multiple meetings with senior advisors, weighing options, discussing potential, trying to understand the full scope of what he was facing. For someone who had spent decades thriving on controversy, this was a different kind of challenge, one that couldn't be solved with bluster or media spectacle. And here's where it gets more complicated. Trump's team faced a messaging nightmare. On one hand, they needed to maintain his public image as someone fighting against what he calls political persecution. That's the brand. That's what keeps the base energized. But on the other hand, and this is crucial, any statement that could be interpreted as defiant or obstructive risked making the legal situation dramatically worse. Every word, every tweet, every public appearance could be scrutinized by the court. Aggressive language could now carry actual legal consequences. Advisors reportedly clashed over strategy. Some argued for a more conciliatory approach, acknowledged the ruling while fighting it through legal channels. Others pushed for the usual aggressive stance, frame the order as political persecution, and rally the base. The tension between these approaches created internal friction. Coordination became difficult.
Double tap the face of your phone device. Hey, Clarinetta, I hit the three dots at the top right corner, please. I know y'all see them asking. I know you hear me. If you don't want to double tap, please go ahead and exit to the left. Double tap. I hit the three dots. It's the face of your phone. It's free. It's not going to charge you anything. I mean, if you want to do a super chat, super sticker, you can. All I'm asking you to do is double tap the face of your screen if you're on your phone device, or hit those three dots at the top. Okay, well, now next time I'm just gonna shut it down.
And Every hour that passed without a clear message added to the chaos. When Trump finally addressed the situation publicly, his statement reflected both impulses. He portrayed the ruling as an example of political bias. He claimed the judiciary was being weaponized against him. He framed himself as a victim of a coordinated effort to undermine his influence and silence his voice. Classic Trump messaging. But, and here's what's important.
He whining.
The language was carefully calibrated. There was nothing that
Whining.
could clearly be construed as direct defiance. Nothing that might trigger a contempt finding. The lawyers had clearly been involved. The response was immediately polarized. Supporters praised Trump for standing firm. Critics saw the statement as dangerously close to contempt. Legal experts debated whether it crossed any lines or simply represented protected political speech. And once again, this became another flashpoint in the ongoing battle over Trump's legal and political standing. As the court's order moved into its enforcement phase,
Justice
the
for
stakes escalated
Sasha
dramatically. Federal
Riley.
authorities were now authorized to take immediate action to ensure compliance. Reports began circulating about potential consequences, asset freezes, financial monitoring, and yes, even the possibility of arrest if violations occurred. Let me say that again. Arrest if violations occurred. Trump's team scrambled to ensure that every requirement was being met. They coordinated with banks, accountants, legal experts. Every financial transaction was reviewed, every business dealing examined, every public statement analyzed to ensure nothing could be interpreted as non-compliance. The margin for error had shrunk to almost nothing. Republican lawmakers continued navigating the political minefield, and you could see the divide deepening in real time. Some issued statements supporting Trump, emphasizing their belief that he was being treated unfairly. Others remained completely silent, unwilling to either defend or criticize him publicly. And a growing few, took the opportunity to reaffirm their support for the rule of law. They carefully avoided direct mention of Trump, but their position was becoming clear. This wasn't just about Trump anymore. This was about the future direction of an entire political party, and the instant court order was forcing conversations that many Republicans had been desperately trying to avoid for years. Social media remained a constant source of pressure and amplification. Every rumor, every report, every statement was dissected and debated by millions of users. Supporters organized online campaigns to protest the ruling. Critics celebrated what they saw as a long overdue moment of accountability. Misinformation spread alongside legitimate analysis, creating confusion and amplifying tensions. Polls conducted in the aftermath showed that views of the ruling fell largely along partisan lines. His supporters viewed it as confirmation of their belief that powerful forces were aligned against him. His critics saw it as a necessary step toward accountability. The polarization was stark, and it reflected divisions in American society that extend far beyond Trump himself. Okay, here's where we are. Trump is facing a legal crisis unlike any he has encountered before. The instant court order has eliminated the usual escape routes, delays, appeals, procedural maneuvers. It's replaced them with immediate enforceable consequences. His team is operating under extraordinary pressure. His political allies are navigating treacherous ground, and the public is watching every move in real time. This isn't just another controversy that will fade after a news cycle. The dynamics have fundamentally changed. Trump is no longer playing the long game, buying time through procedural tactics and media strategy. He's operating under immediate pressure, with every decision carrying weight, every misstep potentially catastrophic. The stakes have never been higher, and the clock is ticking faster than anyone anticipated. So what does this mean? What are we actually watching unfold? We're watching a test of something fundamental in American democracy, whether the rule of law applies to everyone, including former presidents, whether judicial authority can be enforced against someone with the resources, the platform, and the political support to resist, whether accountability is possible in a system that has often allowed the powerful to delay and deflect indefinitely. The coming days will test Trump's ability to respond effectively under unprecedented pressure. They'll test the Republican Party's willingness to defend or distance itself from a leader facing serious legal jeopardy. And they'll test the American public's capacity to process a situation this complex, this charged, and this consequential. The outcome won't just shape Trump's future, it will set important precedents for executive accountability, judicial authority, and the balance of power in American democracy. Every move forward will carry weight. Every misstep could have lasting consequences that extend far beyond one man. This is a turning point, and you're watching it happen in real time. If you made it this far, thank you. Seriously. This is the kind of story that demands attention, and the fact that you're here, engaged, paying attention, that matters. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the like button, leave a comment with your thoughts on what you just heard. Share this with someone who needs to understand the stakes of this moment, because this isn't over, not by a long shot. We'll be following every development as it happens. Stay with us.
I know y'all ain't waiting on me. And y'all ain't got my life, so. I don't know. What is it?
Hi, it's Bill Clinton. What in the world is happening down at Mar-a-Lago right now? I mean that honestly. I'm looking at this event from yesterday and it doesn't feel real. You've got people dressed up like dogs, masks on their faces, dancing around while all of this is unfolding across the country. And at the same time, federal agents are being sent into places like Minneapolis and St. Paul, cracking down hard, terrifying communities, while people can barely afford groceries, barely afford rent, while foreclosures are climbing and folks are just trying to survive paycheck to paycheck. I keep coming back to the contrast. That's what sticks with me. On one side,
is that what it is?
Almost surreal party atmosphere. On the other, a country where people are stretched thin, anxious, worn down. And then layered on top of that, you've got threats being tossed around on the global stage, talk of taking Greenland, foreign ministers from Denmark and Greenland having to come to Washington, only to be told flatly that the United States isn't backing off. And now you've got reports of special forces from countries like France, Germany, Sweden, Denmark, even Canada, moving to strengthen defenses just in case, just in case. So I'm asking myself, sitting here watching all of this unfold, what exactly is going on at Mar-a-Lago? I mean, really, you see those images again, the masks, the dancing, the whole thing, and it feels dystopian, like something is off in a deep way, almost a let them eat cake moment, except twisted into something darker. Let them eat whatever's left while the rest of the country struggles. And it's not just that. There's been reporting coming out of Detroit, too,
yes, you can be
at a Ford plant. Apparently, not only did Donald Trump lash out at a union worker there, flipping him off, telling him to go to hell, but the people who were present are still talking about something else entirely. His body odor. That's what they're saying, that it was so bad they can't stop talking about it. He was funky there too. More than the confrontation itself. Think about that for a second. The image is so bad they can't stop talking about it. Even more than.
Oh my God, he went up in there funky.
That's what they're saying, that it was so bad they can't stop talking about it. Even about
funky, Donnie.
Entirely. His body odor. That's what they're saying, that it was so bad they can't
Donnie,
stop
you was in there
about
funky.
Even more than the.
I told you, your ass, you was gonna be shitting on yourself once you find out that boy.
The image
that
of
young
a
man.
former president showing up at a factory, getting called out by a worker, responding with anger, and then leaving behind this other impression that people are still whispering about. The union
messing
worker
with them
gets
kids and your ass is
and
funky.
the United Auto Workers step in and say, no, you don't get to harass our people, not even if you're the president. There's something revealing in that moment about power, about how working people are treated when they speak up.
He done went
And
up
then the
and
language
forward
ramps up
funky.
even
Hey,
further.
Joseph.
Accusations, claims about the Justice
Joseph and
Department,
Craig, can
about
y'all
covering
hit the
things
like
up,
button?
about
Double tap
corruption layered on
those
top
3
of
dots,
humiliation and spectacle. It all starts to blur together. You've got these bizarre
please.
scenes from Mar-a-Lago on one
Funky
screen, and
booty.
then images from Minneapolis and St. Paul on another, where people are being hit with flashbangs, pepper spray, unknown gases, people coughing, panicking, trying to protect
He up
themselves.
in there
That's the
funky.
split screen we're living with right now. A party behind gates and chaos in the streets. And I can't help but sit with that discomfort, because it says something about priorities, about what gets attention and what gets brushed aside. And it raises a question that doesn't have an easy answer, not yet anyway. Where does this lead, and who's paying the price in the meantime? And then there's what gets posted online, almost casually while all of this is happening. Claims
He
about
up in there
Minneapolis, about
funky.
food assistance, about fraud, about neighborhoods being dirty, empty, broken,
Lord.
every line dripping with accusation. And I read it slowly, because sometimes that tells you more than reacting fast. The words accuse, but they also mirror. Projection has a way of revealing itself if you let it sit there for a moment. What strikes me is the timing. While
Funky
people are being
ass.
pushed to the brink financially, while manufacturing jobs are slipping away, while
Why they
foreclosure
not
numbers are
changing his
climbing to
diaper?
levels we haven't seen since the last major collapse, that's when this rhetoric gets louder. And it's paired with this display of wealth and detachment, the kind that feels almost performative, flaunting comfort while others are losing stability. There's also the way blame gets assigned, broadly and recklessly. Whole cities, whole states, immigrants, political opponents. It's all painted as one giant scam, one giant enemy. And yet when you step back, you see allies pulling away, former partners preparing for the worst, conducting military exercises not with us, but against the possibility of us. That alone should give anyone pause. I keep thinking about how disconnected these moments feel from everyday life. A person worrying about rent isn't thinking about Greenland.
Sure
A
ain't.
family choosing between groceries and utilities isn't thinking about military posturing. But those decisions, those threats, they ripple outward. They shape how the world sees us and how secure people feel at home. And then there's the number that really lands hard. Only a tiny fraction of Americans think taking Greenland by force is a good idea. 4%. That tells you something important. There's a gap between the noise at the top and the instincts of the public. A gap between what's being shouted and what people
Is
actually
this why
want. You
everybody
add to
is
that
suffering
reports about oil money, about accounts
with
overseas,
sinus
about deals
problems?
being
Oh,
routed
yeah,
through
yeah.
places that raise
My
eyebrows.
nose
The
stuffing now.
explanation given is neutrality, convenience,
They done been
but it
spraying
leaves a
something in the
question
air
hanging in the air. Why there? Why
a
that
couple of
route? Why
years
now?
ago.
And when
Black
people
guy.
start asking those questions, trust doesn't exactly grow.
He got
So you end up with
abducted
this uneasy mix.
and he was
Aggressive words
showing
abroad,
the end
chaos
of
at home,
America.
money flowing in strange directions, and leadership that seems more focused on spectacle than stability. I'm not rushing to a conclusion here. I'm just
He
laying
was
out the pieces
shown
as they're presented, because once you see
the
them
end
together,
of
it's hard to
America.
unsee them. And then there's
Uh,
Venezuela. That's
you
another
said like the
thread
end
that
of the
keeps weaving
world.
its way back into this picture. Public statements about friendly
How
conversations, admiration for
how can he
strength,
show you the
praise
end?
that lands very differently depending on where you're standing. If you're part of the
Man, he
pro-democracy
remained funky.
opposition there, hearing that kind of
Great.
language
Now
doesn't
we can
sound
have a
reassuring.
funky
It sounds
nasty.
like the
Oh,
door
he
closing,
is a funky
like
nasty
hopes that were
president.
already fragile getting pulled apart piece by piece. At the
They
same
say he
time,
stank.
reports come out about
He
money
rank
from oil
bad.
sales being routed through Qatar, not American banks, not transparent channels people recognize and trust. Somewhere else,
They say he
somewhere
act like he
described as
don't know he
neutral
done
where
shit
funds
it.
can move freely. And when you hear that, you don't have to jump to conclusions to feel uneasy. The setup alone invites questions. It invites suspicion.
Say
Because
he been
history
doing that
tells us
since
that when money
Apprentice.
starts moving quietly, explanations tend to follow, not precede. And all of this is happening while attention is pulled toward another potential flashpoint. Iran, airspace cleared, threats made earlier in the month, promises offered directly to protesters. Words
Like he
like,
don't feel
"We've got
like,
your
I mean,
back."
he
Those
don't
words
feel
matter
that
when you
heat.
say them.
Ooh,
They carry weight. They create
ooh.
expectations. But now days have passed, and reports suggest thousands, maybe more, have been killed, and the response remains uncertain, conditional, delayed. The reasoning given is that any action must be swift, decisive, finished in one strike, no long war, no drawn-out conflict. That sounds careful on the surface, but it also raises a hard question. What happens if reality doesn't fit that plan? What happens if one strike doesn't change everything? History has a way
Russia's
of answering that question for us, whether we
threatening
like
to
the answer or
end.
not. I find myself thinking about
It's going to be
Iraq,
the end for
Afghanistan,
America. Russia said
promises
that
made
recently.
there, the confidence that things would be quick, clean, resolved. We know how that turned out.
Following
So
Trump's
when similar
plan.
language comes back into circulation, it's hard not to feel a knot form, especially when lives are already being lost while decisions are still being weighed. And through all of this, the pattern stays consistent. Big declarations, dramatic threats, spectacle, and then hesitation when consequences come into view. It leaves people guessing, allies guessing, protesters guessing, citizens guessing, and uncertainty, when it stretches on long enough, becomes its own kind of damage. And while that uncertainty hangs there, the political fallout at home keeps building. You see it in how younger voters are reacting. Generation Z, a group that not long ago showed more openness than people expected, is shifting fast. Numbers that once looked competitive don't anymore. Approval that was positive drops hard, almost off a cliff. And it's not subtle, it's sharp enough that even seasoned analysts stop and stare at the charts for a second. That kind of movement doesn't come out of nowhere. It comes from watching patterns repeat, from seeing rhetoric turn into behavior, from moments that feel embarrassing, cruel, or just out of touch. And when you stack those moments up, younger voters notice. They always have. They may be flexible, but they're not blind. You also see it in how elected officials respond when confronted directly. When a union worker speaks out and calls out what he sees, the reaction from leadership matters. Some dismiss it, some lash out, others defend the right to speak plainly, to challenge power without fear. Those responses draw lines, and people watching decide which side of that line they're on. There's something telling about who gets praised as a patriot and who gets punished for speaking up, about who's protected and who's suspended. Those moments resonate far beyond a single
Yeah, he
factory
has shitty
floor.
diapers. He
They
be on
ripple
a
through
golf
conversations,
course,
through feeds, through dinner
and
tables. And
he
then
think
there's
it's
the
a
broader
fort, and
media
it's
picture. Polling
and
discussions,
he be
charts,
all,
analysts
yeah.
pointing out
He ain't
just
gonna
how
stop.
dramatic the shift has been. Not just a little slide, but a major drop in approval among the youngest voters. When that happens, it's not just about one election cycle, it's about trust being lost in real time. I don't say any of this with satisfaction. It's more like concern, because once that trust breaks, it's hard to rebuild, especially when it breaks alongside images of excess, anger, and detachment from everyday struggle, especially when the tone coming from the top feels dismissive rather than reflective. So you're left with this question hanging there, not answered, not resolved. What happens next when a generation decides it's seen enough? When spectacle stops being entertaining and starts feeling insulting, that's not a small shift, that's a foundational one. And then it circles back to the people who are watching all of this unfold in real time, not as pundits, not as strategists, just as citizens trying to make sense of what they're seeing. The tone, the images, the reactions, the way criticism is handled, the way loyalty is demanded but rarely returned. Those details add up. You hear lawmakers weigh in, some choosing their words carefully, others being blunt about what they think they witnessed, calling a worker a hero for speaking up, saying plainly that he was describing reality as he saw it. That kind of clarity cuts through the noise for a moment. It reminds people that there are still lines, still standards, still a difference between power and accountability. At the same time, the self-promotion never really slows down. Celebrations of rankings, calls to subscribe, claims of dominance over rivals. It's all part of the ecosystem now. Attention feeds attention, but when that self-congratulation sits next to images of unrest, repression abroad, and economic pressure at home, the contrast becomes hard to ignore. I keep thinking about how quickly things escalate when empathy drops out of the picture, when every critique is treated as an attack, when every challenge is met with insult or dismissal. That's not strength. It just looks loud. And eventually, loud starts to sound empty. So here we are, with all these threads tangled together. Bizarre displays of excess, harsh crackdowns, international tension, shifting public opinion. None of it neatly wrapped up, none of it resolved, and maybe that's the point. Because this moment isn't finished yet. It's still moving, still unfolding. What matters is how people respond to it, what they remember, what they decide they're willing to accept and what they're not. That decision doesn't get made in one speech or one post. It gets made quietly over time as people watch patterns repeat and draw their own conclusions. I'll leave it there. If you want to keep following along as this develops, make sure you're subscribed, and more than that, stay curious, stay
When my streaming bill hit $180 a month,
He done stole the Nobel Peace Prize from that lady.
I got friendly.
You dumbfounded.
Into a 2-year contract.
Just released expose blows the cover on a prominent Republican senator who had an important role in blocking. I reviewed blocking transparency with regards to the Epstein files, and I have the breakdown for you next. The story I'm going to share is not getting the attention it deserves because of the other Epstein bombshell that was dropped today about Elon Musk. Let's cover up on that with a scathing report from right-leaning Sky News, and then I'll reveal the Republican senator who should send Elon a gift basket for knocking her off of page 1 of the Epstein news.
Elon Musk's name has appeared in files relating to Jeffrey Epstein, with reference to him potentially visiting the island that Epstein owned. The files have just been released by Democrats in Washington, and they also show Prince Andrew was listed as a passenger on the files' private plane. Let's bring in our U.S. correspondent, David Blevins. David, what else do we know about this mention of Elon Musk in these files?
Well, the Epstein estate has been gradually handing over documents to an oversight committee on Capitol Hill, and it is the latest batch of those documents that appear to suggest Elon Musk may have been a visitor to Epstein Island on December 6, 2014. An entry in what appears to be Epstein's daily schedule reads, "Reminder, Elon Musk to Island, December 6. Is this still happening?" December 6, 2014, of course, is 6 years after Jeffrey Epstein was listed as a sex offender. We've reached out to Elon Musk for comment. He's not just the world's most wealthy man. He was, of course, a very prominent player in the early days of the Trump administration, leading the so-called Department of Government Efficiency, until the two men had a very public falling out in June, when you may recall Elon Musk alleged online that the administration was concealing the files and that Donald Trump was named in them. He later deleted that post, and after 3 months of estrangement, the two men were pictured together for the first time at the funeral of Charlie Kirk last weekend. The documents also show Prince Andrew listed as a passenger on Epstein's jet in May 2000. It's not the first time we've heard that. During the trial of Epstein's girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell, one of her accusers, who was 14 at the time, recalled being a passenger on that jet with Andrew. The Duke of York strenuously denies any wrongdoing.
For more on the Elon Epstein escapades, please see our other Occupy Democrats story. Meanwhile, my featured story begins with something I saw on X written by Grok. The AI bot that is always there. It said Senator Lisa Murkowski cast deciding vote to block Epstein files release. And I thought, okay, but that's old news. And then I kept reading and discovered the new news. On September 11, 2025, U.S. Senator Lisa Murkowski, Alaska, provided the 51st vote in a 51-49 Senate tally to table an amendment requiring the Department of Justice to declassify Jeffrey Epstein's documents, including flight logs and victim statements. The amendment, proposed by Senator Marshall Blackburn of Tennessee, aimed to promote transparency in Epstein's sex trafficking network. An investigative report by Tara Palmieri highlights Murkowski's professional connections to Ghislaine Maxwell, and here's that report.
I'm starting to believe that Donald Trump actually thought he could just get his Jeffrey Epstein scandal to go away, that his cover-up would be successful. But Donald Trump forgot he surrounded himself with idiots when he put together his administration. That's just the truth. And it has allowed Democrats, especially in the House Oversight Committee, to continue to pile up the wins. And the latest wasn't just exposing Donald Trump, but exposing those connected to Epstein and Trump. The associates play such a big role. And in doing so, they exposed Epstein's lawyer, making an admission that now has Donald Trump posting like a crazy person about files. We're going to get into it all, but before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button because it goes a long way. But before we can get into Donald Trump's insane post and the admission from the Epstein and Trump lawyer blowing up this entire scandal, I want to start with a sentiment I think is so important when we're talking about Epstein from Jasmine Crockett.
Okay, y'all, I'm listening to something else in my other ear over here. And they, Robert Kennedy.
So here's the thing.
Hold on. And Trump and them, they're about to start pushing milk, whole milk. Stay away from it. Anything that they are trying to push, if they are pushing it, don't drink it. I'm serious. A yellow beezy mama, I don't know how she died. They said she had food poisoning. And I'm not being funny, but I'm just saying they bringing back whole milk. And they gonna put it in the schools and stuff. Listen, they trying to take us out. That's all I'm gonna say. Let's keep listening.
Like, obviously, this is concerning to have a potential pedophile as a president. That is concerning, right? But this is like even bigger than him. I want people to understand the information that we were given about foreign governments and their participation, the information we were given about our own federal government and how high of a level we're talking about as far as like them being in cahoots. We know that JP Morgan Chase ended up paying out a large settlement because they basically kind of looked the other way as there were these ridiculous wire transfers that were going by. We know that there were fake corporations that were set up. We know that, or at least we've been told that there were fake immigration documents that were put together so that women from other countries could end up over here. We know that there were allegedly fake marriages.
Oh,
this
Lord.
Goes and it reaches through every single
this
level
is
of government.
there.
And it's one of those reasons that these survivors have been quiet for so long.
Hold on, y'all. He over in there farting and some kids up in there. And baby, let me get to this. Let me go to sleep. All this laugh. I wonder why this little girl would keep. Y'all stay away from this milk. Stay away from the milk. Don't drink the milk. And if that's going to make him fart and tear up the room. Oh, now they want you.
I want to thank President Trump again for his vision, for signing this bill, for continuing to...
Please do click the subscribe button if you appreciate what we do. And it's a pretty simple gesture, but it goes a long way, and it is completely free.
...to action. As Secretary of Health and Human Services, I support
Where's
this
that commercial
reform
where he...
because it aligns federal policy with evidence-based nutrition.
Trump ain't paying no
like,
mind.
why do I have to stand next to Bobby?
He ain't paying no mind.
Healthy kids need real food.
He sleep.
Real protein.
Is he sleep, y'all?
Fats. And
Hold on.
Policies grounded in reality and the science. I want to thank
He
President
is
Trump
sleep.
again for his vision.
He is sleep. He church sleep. You know how you sleep when the pastor's preaching too long? You know. And you put your head over to the side. Hold on. He sleep. He ain't paying no mind. Oh, how trifling. Oh, where y'all find this clown?
Federal policy
Look
with
at it. Watch his
evidence-based
head.
nutrition.
Mess it up. Boy, you better stay away from that milk.
Like, why do I have to stand next to Bobby?
Is it me?
Ideology or dogma. Healthy kids
Look at
need
her.
real
She got her
food.
hand up.
They need real protein.
She trying hard.
They need healthy fats, and they need policies grounded in reality and the science. I want to thank President Trump again for his vision, for signing this bill, for continuing to put children's health first, This is exactly the kind of practical change that will make America healthy again.
Okay, so we'll get to the close-up shot when someone accuses Trump of a little poot. A little poot.
Shit, that's a
I don't know if
full-grown
that happened,
fart.
but the girls do look at each other like something got stinky over here.
He in
But
there
someone
farting.
named Robert said,
In
I
his
can't
sleep.
stop with this video. Bald guy on the left wiping sweat off. Why are you sweating, bro? Little girls looking
Oh,
at
they gotta stand
stuff
there.
being like,
They gotta stand there and
yeah,
smell that funk.
RFK Jr. having an anxiety
Oh,
attack
wow.
or a
I'd
stroke.
be like, excuse me.
And Trump falling asleep. This is absolutely.
Put your church finger up and get
I know
out.
it's not his fault, but Bobby's, the papers are shaking. This guy's sweating. The girls don't know what's going on.
He's sweating.
In the back, they're bored. Trump's falling asleep. There's just a big thing of milk on the table. It's
Leave that
all
milk alone.
So strange.
You gonna
But
show
here's
us
the
the-
one that
Oh, yeah.
someone said Donald Trump falls asleep and farts. This is ridiculous. In front of two young girls, and watch their face like, is this guy the president? Why is he dozing?
So hard on this. Peter Welsh, it is a bipartisan issue, and understanding where we are in this country and how important the health of certainly our children is so important.
I don't know if
It's like, Mom, what is that?
She does go, oh no, over, yeah. I always feel bad
over
for
there
these photo
sleeping
ops
and
when they
farting.
get kids in there, and the kids are like, I don't know what we're doing here. Someone
Oh, wow.
standing next to
I
me
wanna
is
go.
talking about how whole milk is what you have to drink.
Oh,
And
yeah, his
it's
voice is
spooking
horrible.
me. So there's that. This clip went really viral. I'll get
Oh, Lord.
doing here. Someone, or I always feel bad for these photo ops.
Is so important.
I don't know if any flatulence happened, but
Oh, wow.
she does go, oh no, over, yeah.
Funky ass.
I always feel bad for these photo ops.
Funky ass. I wanna go.
Bipartisan issue, and understanding where we are in this country and how important the health of certainly our children are is so important.
I don't know if any flatulence
She
happened, but she does go, oh no.
Bless our little
issue.
Oh, I'll be like, I gotta go. Can I go? Does somebody, what? I'm on this thing. What is that?
So hard on this. Peter Welsh.
And he like playing with kids too.
Understanding where we are in this country and how important the health of certainly our children are is so important.
I don't know if
And she turning red.
happened, but she does
Oh,
go,
wow.
oh no.
Oh,
Over.
wow.
Yeah.
Diaper.
I
Oh,
always feel
wow.
bad for these photo ops when they get kids in there, and the kids are like, I don't know what we're doing here.
Oh, what is
Someone
that?
standing next to me is talking about how whole milk is what you have to drink.
What
and
is
it's
that?
spooking me. So
I wouldn't have my
there's that.
kids
This
standing
clip
next
went
to
really
him.
viral. I'll get back to the press conference in a second, but on the issue of food, Brooke Rollins says, hey, we've done great on affordability. We're not just advising people to eat healthy, which again, I want.
One piece of broccoli.
As much as possible can get away from that ultra processed
Run,
stuff
child.
that you can't actually make
Shit,
in
I
a
wish I
kitchen
would have my
yourself.
kids standing right there.
The better,
And
of
he's
course.
And he a pervert.
This weird, like, drink
hell
whole
no.
milk, damn it, is
That
a little
woke me up.
confusing to
I
me.
can, ooh,
But
that fart. I bet you his
she
diaper
goes, you
shitty
can
right
have an affordable meal. Listen, this is how you do it.
I think the question you're asking, and it's a really important one, is while we're asking Americans to reconsider what they're eating, are we actually asking Americans, especially those who are living on the margins, are we asking them to spend more on their diet? And the answer to that is no. We've run over 1,000 simulations. It can cost around $3 a meal for a piece of chicken, a piece of broccoli, corn tortilla, and one other thing. And so there is a way.
A piece of broccoli.
These perfumes have taken over
A
the
half
internet,
a
and if you don't have it
tortilla.
yet, you are completely
And what
missing
else?
out.
A piece of chicken. Y'all, they block whatever it is they put that spike in to block. The shit is making you fat. It got that seed oil. And you saying
You know
a
exactly why
piece
Ocha is everywhere. They're basically
a
known for recreating that
piece
luxury experience in perfumes,
of
but
chicken.
turning it up a notch. These perfumes are bold, long-lasting, and honestly, better than most perfumes, twice the
$3.
price. Let me show you what everyone's obsessed with. We have Love in Rome that has
$3.
Again, this administration sets up themselves to be memed so many times, so frequently, it's
$3.
confusing. Did you just say for $3 you can get a meal that's a piece of chicken,
Of
which
chicken.
sounds like one little cube of chicken, a piece of broccoli,
A
like
drumstick.
one broccoli, and a corn tortilla, and a mystery item?
Oh my God.
First of all, it is really difficult, depending on how you shop and if you have the time to
What about
think
vegans?
these things out. It's pretty difficult to get
What
like
about
a
people who
nice,
don't eat
robust,
meat?
yummy meal for $3, okay? And that's why often people end up going to fast food. And yeah, you can do the math and say, well, if you bought this and this and this in this quantity, ate it this way, like you could eat much cheaper than fast food, for sure. But there are a lot of hindrances to people
No, because then y'all say
eating
you
that
ain't
way, and
supposed to eat
time being another one.
leftovers.
And so you
Only
have to
but
address
one
those
day.
problems beyond just saying, hey, we've run simulations for $3. You can get a piece of chicken, a piece of broccoli, and a corn tortilla.
Let me see you do it.
By the way, what are you making? What is that?
What you
just
eating?
put one broccoli and one chicken and a corn tortilla, and that's your meal? Oh, wait, but a mystery item. It's a Joker card. So then you had crazy
Don't let
visual
him have.
elements
Oh
like
Lord.
this. Here is your meal, America.
Oh wow. Are y'all ready for this meal? Yeah, let's see the meal. The meal plan.
Make sure to carry around your immigration papers.
This is what they have.
Papers as you go to the kitchen to get your government distributed one chicken, one broccoli, one corn, but freedom, mystery item, a thing of spam. And then another one. How did she say we did 1,000 simulations and for $3 you can have a meal with those ingredients? Who's just having a corn tortilla with a piece of broccoli?
I told y'all
and
drumstick.
a piece of chicken, and then your one mystery item is an M&M.
M&M.
That's crazy town. You had to think of something better than that. Also,
Hey,
buying
lady
a
love.
chicken, like a
Drumstick. I remember as a kid, we go to Wyatt's cafeteria. Wasn't it Wyatt's? Kids meal. Drumstick. Macaroni cheese. What I eat? I ain't eat broccoli back then. It had to be corn, macaroni cheese and corn. I ain't do mashed potatoes, but a drumstick in a row. That's what they. That's what where we are supposed to be. And he fat as hell though.
I don't know how much she's expecting us to eat. A piece of chicken sounds so little. When I've tried to make like a chicken meal, it can get expensive. With all you want sides, you want thing, not just one piece of chicken and a corn tortilla.
Drumstick.
Which that is 100% what Bobby eats. So
and baby,
then we get back to the press conference.
Look at him.
It's actually a legal definition.
Anywhere near that vein, it's a wrap.
It's whole with a W for those of you that have a problem. Most of the media will get that.
And by most in the media will get that, do you mean get that whole milk is not spelled like a hole in a wall? Yeah.
Yeah, this y'all president, man.
So there's fact checks. Again, I don't feel like I need to wade too much into this because my general advice is what I already gave to you. And some of that, Bobby's saying, in other areas you just have to be skeptical when he talks ever because he'll in one breath say, you know,
he forgot he told y'all he was gonna give y'all $2,000.
The Whole Foods.
Y'all do know he forgot that he had said that he was gonna give us back some of our money that he stole from us about that $2,000. He said, I said that. Oh, wow. What did I say that? Confused as hell. I mean, he really looked confused. He didn't look like he was lying on purpose that time. He was confused. Yeah, you just be talking out the side of your neck. Man, I can't with him. Ooh.
Better proportions of meat and vegetables and fruits. Avoid super processed. And you're like, yeah. Good. And then he'll go, and also, there's no safe and effective vaccines. And you're like, okay, so now we can't trust you, which is a big helpful thing when we're getting guidelines, because I don't want to have to go check everything. And
I don't believe none of that. Stay away from the milk. Don't let your kids drink it.
But
they don't
we
put
know
something in it.
you. Oh my gosh, Trump is the president. It's so hard to be like, Trump, thank you for your vision on health.
Right.
As Bobby's on a podcast being like, Trump eats poison.
Every
Just
day.
straight rat poison, and he survives somehow. So Terry Simpson,
No,
Dr. Terry
he eat
Simpson said
them
whole milk
burgers
was
where
not
they
removed
be
from
having
schools,
the dead
which is one of the
bodies.
arguments. Low fat, 1% and fat-free milk remain, but both provide.
Where they done took the body. Oh, I saw a picture of they had the whole leg in a meat counter. They had skinned the leg and and they had it in the meat counter with the fish and the chicken and all of that type of stuff. I said, these people, they done lost it, man. They done lost it. So they don't have no places for all the bodies that they done unalive, and so they feel like they can make some money off of that. It's any way you can make some money. So we gonna abuse them, whatever your fetish is, and grape them, unalive them, and then sell their bodies. So they gonna make money off of it. So they don't have to worry about no DNA. Low vibrational. Now, dude, you are low. I heard Ivanka called 50 Cent ghetto. I can't. I don't want to say the wrong thing. Ghetto something. Bitch, yo, girl. They say you had your brother for your daddy. You better shut up. If that ain't
It
ghetto.
has all been caught on camera. It's documented. We have the receipts. This may be the most important video I've ever done on the Midas Touch Network. I'm going to ask for a favor from you. Watch this entire video. What you are going to see is Donald Trump's Gestapo, his militarized ICE forces, his Border Patrol agents, his DEA officials, and other unidentified federal militarized people don't even identify who they're with, wearing their masks, attacking people in the United States from coast to coast, from Washington, D.C. to San Diego and everywhere in between, and things are ratcheting up. It's all been caught on tape. Migrants being attacked, citizens being attacked, citizen whistleblowers who record what ICE is doing, being targeted and attacked. We have it all on camera. We have DEA agents praising the Proud Boys on camera, basically calling them good people. I'm going to show you that. I'm going to show you ICE agents and other federal agents who are unidentified attacking a delivery worker on a moped, throwing him to the ground in an area in Washington, D.C. called Logan Circle, right outside a popular restaurant called Bluestone Lane. And when people start asking these ICE agents, who are you? Who are you with? The agents, if they're even ICE, were saying, shut up. We don't have to tell you. And then the people were saying, you're ruining our city. And then Trump's military force, you'll hear them say this. They're going to say, you'll hear them in their own words, the liberals did this. The liberals destroyed the city. We're just going after the liberals. There are words to that effect right now. I'm going to show you ICE agents attacking a TikToker who runs an account that exposes what ICE is doing. They throw her to the ground. Her name is Tatiana Martinez. I'm going to want you to watch what's taking place here. I'm going to show you ICE blindsiding and tackling peaceful protesters from behind, including a U.S. veteran who fought in Afghanistan. And I'm going to ask you, do not cover your eyes. We need to watch this. Take a deep breath with what I'm about to show you, and I need you to share this video with as many people as you can. I'm going to show you videos of ICE agents and other unidentified federal troops arresting a father waiting to pick up his kid at an elementary school. I'm going to show you ICE agents grabbing a high school student, walking his dog, leaving the dog
I need for y'all to hype
in
my
traffic. I'm going to show you all of this
video
right now. So let's start with this, and I want to give credit where credit is due. Marissa Cabas, she runs a Substack called The Handbasket, and she received this footage from a DC citizen, and let me show you how she describes what went down. A delivery worker was tased, punched, and kicked by multiple federal agents in the middle of the street outside a popular brunch spot in Northwest DC on Saturday morning. A video shared with The Handbasket shows, while customers sitting outside at Logan Circle Cafe munched on avocado smash and matcha pancakes, 2 and then an additional 4 masked agents beat the shit out of the man in broad daylight. This is America. During the agents' violent attack on a delivery worker Saturday morning in D.C., bystanders repeatedly demanded the agents share their badge number. One of them, his face fully obscured, said, "Do I have to answer to you?" It was a moment as brazen as it was astonishing. We've long known federal agencies operating under Trump consider themselves above or outside the law. But to hear it stated so confidently, so plainly, that the federal government does not have to answer to the people who pay their salaries was jarring. You guys are ruining this country. You know that, right? One bystander said to the agents at one point during the incident. An agent clad in rainbow face masks replied, "Liberals already ruined it." This is what Trump's military force is out there saying. Attacking migrants, citizens, people, because they're going after the liberals is what they're saying. So let's show you this video right here. I want you to watch it. Let's play it.
Yo, fuck you! Fuck you! What was he doing? Fuck you!
Oh, wow.
Hey, pull Chris off! Pull Chris off! Fuck this. Hey, yo, stop! Back the fuck up! Yo, get the fuck out of this city! Back the fuck up. Get out of the city, bro. Get out of our city! Choke yourself out. We're right here, man.
Wow.
Hold on. Turn it! Why are you guys here? Answer questions, bro. Why are you guys here? Do you even have identification on you? Who are you guys?
How we know you're not immigrants?
Yo, can we see some badge? Who are you guys? You guys the cops and shut the fuck up. Are you? Who are you? Yo, why you gotta wear the mask, man? Take your mask off and show me some badge, huh? You guys are mask. Bro, it's so easy to be behind a mask. Walk down with that, dude. Yo, let's see some badge. Yo, let's see some badge work. Who are you? Boys, let's see some badge work. Do I have to answer to you? You gotta answer to somebody. So, wait, so you guys are just masked? Don't worry. You're just masked up? Who are you?
I'm way back. I'm asleep.
I don't care, my guy. You don't care what agency?
Mine is blocked. What's blocked? Yeah, I can't show that type of stuff.
Back the fuck up. Can I see some badge work? Back up. Sir, can I see some badge? Is the camera on? Is your...
Y'all can't see nothing right now.
You know that, right? Liberals already ruined it. Oh, there we go. Okay. Okay, can we see some badge work, guys? That's his property. Hey, guys. already ruined it.
You still
No
can't
number,
see?
no ID, no name. This is a democratic process. It looks like it. Can we see some badge work? Those already ruined the country. Hey, man, can we see some badge work before you go?
Tell it on yourself, you know that, right?
Can we see some badge
Oh yeah, I
numbers?
can't show y'all
Hey,
them fighting and throwing them down and all that type of stuff.
Get the front
I
plate.
can't show that.
There is no front plate. Oh, wait.
And I
so you
didn't
guys,
have.
is this legal?
Yeah, I can't show that.
Hey,
That's
man,
why
can we see some
I be
badge work?
having.
Yeah, can we get your badge number? Okay. Oh, you are right. Okay.
Yeah, that's why I had it this way. You can't show fights. Yeah.
I told you that was going to be very hard to watch.
Yeah, I
now
can't
here,
show that
a
type
DEA
stuff.
agent you'll see in D.C. on camera saying that the Proud Boys are great people who love America. Watch this.
Thought the Proud Boys meetup was next weekend. Are you guys just a little early, just hanging out before, you know?
Proud Boys? They're great guys.
Oh, they're great guys? Yeah. Oh, perfect. Federal agent. Proud Boys are great guys?
They love the United States.
They love the United States.
Yep.
This is perfect.
I can't. Here, you'll see Tatiana Martinez, who is an advocate for migrants. She is someone who's very vocal on TikTok opposing the Gestapo tactics of ICE agents. She runs a large anti-ICE TikTok account. And you will see right here the agents caught on a live stream targeting her in a violent arrest. Agents drag her out of a Tesla, throw her on the ground where she lays unresponsive. Then she's rushed by an ambulance to the hospital. She is well known to the ICE community as an activist who films raids in Los Angeles, California. It seems she has been targeted for an especially brutal arrest to make an example out of her.
All
Here,
the
play this
time
clip.
and all the time, God is good. Yeah, I've been getting a lot of. Yeah, no, I can't show it.
Now, here's additional raw footage of that arrest. You'll hear her scream, "Somebody call 911." Unfortunately, Donald Trump has taken control over all law enforcement at this point and has turned them into a personal military force against the American people. These are scenes you see in fascist nations. Here, play this clip right here.
Somebody call 911!
Something for me. Let me call you back there. If you have to have any resource, that's out on it.
We're calling 911 now, sir.
In this next video I'm going to show you, ICE blindside tackles a peaceful protester from behind. This is in Portland, Oregon, and you'll see this individual turned out to be a U.S. veteran who fought in Afghanistan. Agents slam this veteran to the ground, pin him down with their body weight engulfed in tear gas. Then these less lethal bullets were shot directly at a person's head from the roof, said witnesses trying to help the man. Quote, "He's a veteran of this country. He's done more for this country than any of you." Here, play this clip.
I hope a good one comes up next. Bullshit! Back up! That's bullshit! Excessive fucking force! Back up! No, this is our amendment, right? Bullshit! He does not need to be tackled like that! He is a veteran! A veteran of this country! What the fuck is wrong with you guys? I'm ashamed of every single one. Serious! He is a veteran of this country!
They are employees of America. We pay. Yeah, we pay. I tried to see if I could get that. Stop taking it out my check here.
Next,
If I
here's
ain't
the
gonna
video
get no
of ICE
benefit of it.
arresting a father waiting to pick up his kid at elementary school. School staff had to sort out arrangements for the student left behind. They're very little to not get picked up by your parents. They're very little to not get picked up by your parents is very traumatizing. There's a reason why they wear masks. They know it's wrong to do. Here it is in Linda Vista Elementary School, right by San Diego. Let's play it.
They tell me the man was sitting in this red car, waiting to pick up his kid from the school, when 3 immigration and customs enforcement agents approached him. A witness named Michelle shared this video. It shows 2 agents reaching in through the driver's side window and grabbing the man's wrists before opening his door and removing him from the car.
I was scared. Yeah, I was scared, and my mom was like, "Get inside, they're gonna take you." I'm like, "No, I need to tell the people that the ICE is here and be careful."
Michelle told me about her experience, but did not want to appear on camera because she was afraid of getting in trouble. She says she has a child at Linda Vista Elementary who felt intimidated by the ICE agents.
Even my kids, they knock the door and they're scared. They're like, "Mom, check the window first."
Another parent at the school got emotional when she heard what happened.
You shouldn't have to be scared to bring your kids to school because of all this nonsense.
ICE agents took the man away in an unmarked vehicle. San Diego Unified School District had to contact his wife to pick up their kid. Superintendent Dr. Fabiola Bagula told ABC 10 News she did not approve of federal immigration enforcement so close to the school.
Especially in the school, they're 3 years old to 11 years old. They're very little. So to not get picked up by a parent is very traumatizing.
This is the second time ICE has been near schools in San Diego County in the last 2 weeks. Last week, ICE agents detained a mother while she was dropping her children off near Camarena Elementary. These incidents both happened outside school property, school leaders emphasizing that federal agents are not allowed onto campus without a warrant signed by a judge. Perla Shaheen, ABC 10 News.
Next, I'll show you how ICE grabs a high school student who was out walking his dog, leaving the dog behind in traffic. Agents then start to joke, "Thanks to him, we get to drink this weekend. That he just made us $2,500 because we put a bounty on his head." First tied the dog to a tree, then they cut the collar off and let him run loose in heavy traffic on Sepulveda Boulevard, and the dog nearly died. Here, play this clip.
Recently, a high school student was detained while walking his dog. Kimberly Cheng live in Reseda with that part of the story. Kim.
Hi, and some Valley residents are trying to raise money to help that young man who they say would have been a senior here at Reseda High when school starts this week, but is now in ICE custody. They've started a GoFundMe page, which we're working to verify, but so far it's raised more than $17,000. Neighbors are stepping up to help a young man detained by federal agents. A GoFundMe page identified him as Benjamin Marcelo Guerrero Cruz, a rising senior at Reseda Charter High School. A community member who organized a fundraiser to help with legal services and other expenses says the 18-year-old was taken into custody by federal agents as he walked his dog in his neighborhood in the Van Nuys area. This Sherman Oaks resident posted to Instagram Friday that she witnessed the raid and said she later made contact with his mother.
The mom calls me a few hours later, hysterically crying, heartbroken, distraught, devastated. She is scared to leave her house. She is afraid for her own life. She's a single mom.
A senior official with Department of Homeland Security released a statement in response saying in part, Benjamin Guerrero Cruz, an illegal alien from Chile, overstayed his visa by more than 2 years, abusing the visa waiver program under which he entered the United States, and went on to say he will remain in ICE custody pending removal.
Get away!
Now, I have here another angle right here of that arrest in Logan Circle on around 14th and R in D.C., where they attacked that worker on the moped, just so you can see for yourself. Here, play this clip.
Stop! Yo! Hey, yo! Stop! Stop! Fuck out of this city! Stop! Fuck our city! Get out of our city! Choke yourself out! Go right here. Hold on. Turn it! Why are you guys here? Answer the question.
The next video I want to show you what took place this weekend in Danbury, Connecticut. ICE has escalated its attacks on the community, targeting people outside of the courthouse, in the streets, following them and tearing them away from their families. By the way, everybody follow at Danbury Unites for Immigrants. It's a great account, at Danbury Unites for Immigrants. Each day throughout the week, you'll see 10 to 20 ICE vehicles and dozens of agents, and you'll see them abducting people from the streets. Watch what happens here. Play this clip.
There's something wrong with all of you. What's your name? What's your badge number? Could I have your name and badge number, officer? Could I have your name and badge number, officer? Could you have... Could I have your name and badge number, officer?
Now, here you'll see a traffic stop at 14th and W in DC in the evening hours. You'll see what the news is not covering, but we cover here at the Midas Touch Network, people protesting these Trump Gestapo militarized officers. Play this clip. Now, I'm sure you're also aware of California Governor Gavin Newsom's press conference that he held on Thursday, where he announced that if Texas rigs their maps and unlawfully gerrymanders, that Gavin Newsom is prepared to introduce a ballot initiative, which he's pushing forward. He's already announced the new maps in California that will cancel the maps in Texas. And so California Governor Gavin Newsom held this event in downtown Los Angeles area by the Japanese Museum, which was also the original site where internment camps imprisoned unlawfully Japanese American citizens during World War II. Trump sent his militarized ICE agents, Border Patrol agents, Gestapo, to threaten the people who were attending Gavin Newsom's event. And you'll see how they just show up in military fatigues, harass people, arrest people. Again, this is right out of a fascist dystopia. Play this clip.
Hey, now we're here making Los Angeles a safer place since we won't have politicians. We do that ourselves. So that's why we're here today. As you can see.
Now, here's what Governor Newsom said about those ICE agents who were out there attacking people and harassing people. I'll show you right here. Here, play this clip.
And it's a point of pride because we're all in this together. Where are we? At Democracy Center. And right outside, at this exact moment, are dozens and dozens of ICE agents. Donald Trump, you think it's coincidental? Donald Trump and his minions, Tom Homan, tough guy, clearly decided, coincidentally or not, that this was a location to advance ICE arrests. Indiscriminate? Perhaps. We'll find out later. It was certainly indiscriminate when a 15-year-old disabled boy had a gun put to his head in Los Angeles trying to go to school just a few days ago.
And here's what the mayor of Los Angeles, Karen Bass, had to say about it. Here, I'll show you this clip. Let's play it.
Not believe that this just happened to be a coincidence.
There is no way this was a coincidence. This was widely publicized that the governor and many of our other elected officials were having a press conference here to talk about redistricting, and they decided they were going to come and thumb their nose in front of the governor's face. Why would you do that? That is unbelievably disrespectful. It's a provocative act. They're talking about disorder in Los Angeles, and they are the source of the disorder in Los Angeles right now. This is just completely unacceptable. This is a administration, this is a Customs and Border Patrol that has gone amok. This absolutely has to stop. There was no danger here. There was no need to detain anyone here, and there was certainly no need to have a provocative act right here where the governor is having a press conference.
Now, finally, let me just show you this short clip so we can bring this all together. Let me show you what's happening in Belgrade, Serbia right now, where the Putin-backed regime is attacking the pro-democracy forces in that city. And you'll see their president Vucic, big Putin guy, attacking the college protesters and the peaceful protesters on the street. And you'll see what Trump is doing is turning our streets and making it look like basically what you see here. What happens when a Putin-backed regime comes into power and puts its military on the streets. Watch this. So I told you all, you can't turn away. I told you this was an important video. Now, I need you to share this video with as many people as you can. Right now, when this video shuts off, obviously subscribe. Obviously subscribe to MeidasPlus.com. Obviously.
Okay. Okay, this is how we gonna end tonight. My nose done got stopped up. Okay, hold on. Oh, Lord. I want y'all to hear this before we go to sleep. I don't know why. We can't hear him. Lord, what is... Lord. I'm trying to... Sorry. We having trouble. No kidding. Go out and come back in. I guess it don't want y'all to hear this. It's saying sorry we're having trouble playing it. I was just listening to it. Oh, let me take this off my ear. I was just listening to it. Well, we gonna hear it. We're going to hear it. That's Cynthia. I don't know why they play with me. Let me take this off Bluetooth.
One of my friends, Jenny, noticed that I didn't have my
I need to start it over.
This has got to be book bag on, and she thought that was strange. This was the late 80s, early 90s, and we used to wear our little JanSport and Eastpak book bags real low on our back. We sagged them down below our booty. That was the style of how to wear
I'm trying to
backpack.
start it over.
It did us no service. We all have back problems today, but that's besides what I'm trying to say.
Okay. Can you at least look at her? Okay, yeah. Are y'all listening with y'all good ear? What time is it? Okay.
Well, I want to talk about a few things in this video. I want to talk about a few things in this video.
Oh. I'm having it's making me irritated now.
Sasha Riley, the story about the baby in Michigan and the limo driver, Daddy Dumpy Pants, and my experience living in the state of Alabama with Child Protective Services. Okay? Now, for those of you who think this Sasha Riley story is new, it's not, boo. Nope. We can actually go back into his social media history, and he's been sounding the alarm on Orange Daddy for years.
Orange Daddy.
And nobody was listening. Also, he has been stating for years that there is a paper trail here. Okay? And he's willing to take a polygraph, and he has taken a polygraph before in the past, and all of that. I'm not trying to convince you what he's saying is true. I just want to tell you a few things. He's been shouting at the top of his lungs for years.
Who don't have no identification?
Let's talk about the story that was in the files about Lake Michigan and the baby and Daddy.
He do have
the limo
identification.
driver that talks in the files about how Daddy was in the back of his limo saying all those out-of-the-way things, and about the girl reporting to the FBI
Daddy.
and then her being found unalive. Yeah, that guy didn't just start talking about this either. He was actually talking about this years and years and years ago on YouTube, and nobody was listening to him.
Y'all.
Sasha Riley, the story about the baby in Michigan and the limo driver, Daddy Dumpy Pants, and my experience living in the state of Alabama with Child Protective Services. Okay?
Okay, let's go.
Now, for those of you who think this Sasha Riley story is new, it's not, boo. Nope. We can actually go back into his social media history, and he's been sounding the alarm on Orange Daddy for years.
Yeah, Christina.
And nobody was listening.
Also, he has been stating for years that there is a paper trail here. Okay? And he's willing to take a polygraph, and he has taken a polygraph before in the past, and all of that. I'm not trying to convince you what he's saying is true. I just want to tell you a few things. He's been shouting at the top of his lungs for years about this. Let's talk about the story that was in the files about Lake Michigan and the baby and daddy. The limo driver that talks in the files about how daddy was in the back of his limo saying all those out-of-the-way things and about the girl reporting it to the FBI and then her being found unalive. Yeah, that guy didn't just start talking about this either. He was actually talking about this years and years and years ago on YouTube, and nobody was listening to him. They thought he was just some crazy-ass old fucking man. He told the exact story from the documents in the files years ago. Now I want to talk about Child Protective Services in the state of Alabama. You see, Mr. Riley used to live in Alabama. His father moved them around. His stepfather, who trafficked him, moved him around Tennessee, Alabama, quite a few states.
He was a part of the Dixie
Y'all know I'm from
Mob, the
Alabama.
Dixie Mafia.
Y'all know I come from a very fucked up family.
Oh.
My grandparents were great, but my mother was not okay, and neither was my stepdaddy, and they laid their hands on me a lot. On 3 separate occasions, my stepfather and my mother had laid their hands on me so severely that I could not hide it. And it was discovered by schoolmates, PE teachers, which sparked a Child Protective Service investigation. On 3 separate occasions, Child Protective Services came to our home to investigate my parents because something had clearly gone wrong. In one of these instances, my stepfather had beaten me with a tree limb, not a switch, with a tree limb that had fallen off of a tree during a storm. He beat me so severely that I slept for almost 2 days. My bed sheets were bloody.
The acting president.
My back was ripped to shreds.
Oh, Lord.
After 2 days of laying in the bed and bleeding and not being okay, they finally sent me to school. And as soon as I arrived at school, one of my friends, Jenny, noticed that I didn't have my book bag on, and she thought that was strange. This was the late 80s, early 90s, and we used to wear our little JanSport and Eastpak book bags real low on our back. We sagged them down below our booty. That was the style of how to wear your backpack. It did us no service. We all have back problems today, but that's besides what I'm trying to say. But she noticed I had my backpack in my hand, and she said, "What's wrong?" And she went to touch me on the back, put her arm around me. "What's wrong? Why are you carrying your book bag?" And instantly I flinched. She knew something was wrong with my back. I wouldn't tell her what had happened. But then I started to bleed. Just the pressure of her hand around my back, her arm around my back trying to hug me, made me start bleeding through my shirt. She went and told the PE teacher something was wrong. The PE teacher took me in the locker room, looked at my back, and next thing you know, CPS was called, and they was knocking on my mama's door. CPS came in, talked to my parents, and of course, they denied beating me. They looked around the home and seen it was clean. My parents were white. My mother was a stay-at-home mother. My stepfather went to work every day.
Oh, they didn't do nothing.
And they decided that I was okay.
Yep.
It couldn't have been that bad. They ruled it an isolated incident. This was the 3rd time CPS ruled my beating to be an isolated incident. So for those of you out there today that are talking about the CPS not intervening, well, that's par for the course around here in Alabama. Part of it has to do with the fact that these social workers go into homes where there is no food, there's no furniture, there's no lights on, and it's clear to see the children are being abused. So when they walk into a home that's decorated nicely and daddy works a job every day and they're white, well, they're more inclined to say this was an isolated incident and everything will be okay. So I choose to believe Sasha today. Because he's been saying this for a long, long time. Just like that limo driver. For years. And his story has been corroborated by the files that have been released.
Absolutely.
The 1% of them did.
Okay, y'all, I'm going to sleep. Good night.
This isn't anything new.